It's time for Show Me the Franchise.
With Thomas and Frederick. With Thomas and Frederick.
It's time for Show Me the Franchise.
With Thomas and Frederick. With Thomas and Frederick.
Welcome to Show Me the Franchise, the podcast that talks about franchises of all shapes, sizes, backgrounds, genres, and types. I'm one of your hosts, Tom Stadler, here with Mr. Universe himself, Fred Dakin.
Yeah, I was going to flex, but then I forgot, podcasts.
Yeah, well, I mean, visuals can be, you can describe how you're flexing.
Oh, my arms? Like I'm doing like a Popeye.
Yeah.
Where like I'm flexing the arms and then there's like a little mountain. And then on top of that mountain, there's like another little mountain.
Oh, man.
Have you ever seen the double mountain arms?
Yeah, it's like in the cartoons there where they just kind of keep building up like Bugs Bunny.
Yep.
I love it. I couldn't think of anything that was like, I'm like the Terminator Fred Dakin. I mean, it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, he's always leaving. It's hard for a introduction. He's always, I'll be back, hasta la vista.
Wait.
There's no hello, is there?
You want me to set you up? Fred, you got to use the bathroom or something like that?
I'll be back?
Yeah, there you go.
So a lot of good goodbyes, thumbs up, another bad one for a podcast, but not a great hellos or welcomes.
Yeah.
The Terminator doesn't welcome often.
Although he does have the commercial where he says, I'm back. It's a good one. It's a good one. Speaking of back, Fred, so we are talking about the Terminator this week, and we're welcoming back a guest who has been long in the talks to return to the franchise podcast.
Long in the negotiations, apparently.
Long in negotiations. This was a lot of back and forth, a lot of bartering, a lot of switching around. He made himself a 3-episode deal. That's how much he took this seriously to make sure that he was getting well compensated to come back. But we're very excited to have him back. Peter Intile is back on the show. Welcome back, Pete.
Nice night for a walk, fellas.
Oh,
Hey, that's a line from one of the movies.
I like it.
See, you missed one. I'm glad to be back. I really appreciate you guys bringing me back. I know the negotiations were tough.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were cordial, and I'm glad that we came to an agreement. So here we are.
We are, and we are here. We are back. We are back. So you didn't say y'all.
We'll try to keep the Arnold impressions to a minimum tonight.
Some of us will.
Almost did the intro as an Arnold impression, but I'm less confident in my Arnold impression recently. I'm like, I've been trying to do it, but I don't know that this is any good. Like,
It's a little Greek diner at times, but
is,
it's still like we know what you're doing.
yeah, it's tough because he's actually a lot lower, I think. But then when you go lower, you don't sound like Arnold anymore. It's just
Yeah, you get a little Dracula vibe.
a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Dracula, the perfect person to talk about determination.
Well, Tom, there can be a voice you can't do, okay? You got plenty
It's true.
in the old chamber. That one can just, that one can just die
It's all right.
or be brought back.
Or, yeah, I was going to say, maybe brought back. So we're talking Terminator today, a pretty big franchise that I think when you look at it from the outlook here, you don't think that there's as few installments as there actually are. I think because there've been so many large gaps between movies that it seems like they're releasing more and more often, but really it's like 8 years between the first one and the second one. It's like 10 years or 11 years between the second and the third. And then it's like another 6 years, and then another 6 years, and then another like 4 years. So these don't come around often. And so it feels like whenever one does drop, you're like, okay, well, what are we going to get now? And then reaction is whatever it ends up being. But I guess to go back to the start, Pete, maybe tell us a little bit, what's your experience with Terminator?
Building off of what you just said, Tom, 6 movies in 43 years.
Yeah.
So I'm not a math expert here, but there's a little bit of time between those movies. Being almost 40 myself, one of the first experiences of watching this movie was probably, I'm sure you guys have these experiences as well. Was watching this far too young for when I probably should have been watching this. This was a stereotypical toss the remote movie that always popped up on TNT or TBS.
Mm-hmm.
I think most kids. We'll call ourselves kids.
Sure.
Fred's a kid sometimes.
Kid at heart.
Kid at heart.
Mm-hmm.
Likes to, we watched these movies and they were very formative for our development.
Mm-hmm.
And I think especially, of course, the best movie, I'll just go out and say it, is Terminator 2 in the series. So
Judgment Day.
Judgment Day, that's right. That movie specifically had so many moments in my childhood that I remember watching. You connect with John Connor, who was a child himself.
Mm-hmm.
All of those details just really stuck with me. And then, of course, when you're, again, during your formative years, seeing a movie like this, you anticipate the next movie that's going to come out. And unfortunately, after that time, we may not have had an excellent movie, but it was a hell of a journey. So here we are.
Indeed. So how old do you think you were when you first watched any of the Terminators?
It's a good question. I was probably 5.
Yeah.
Far too young.
It's kind
far
of
too
insane.
young. But I don't remember the first time watching The Terminator. I do remember watching Terminator 2 often.
Right.
But The Terminator, I think, came afterwards. And it was one of those moments where you're kind of like, oh, there was a movie before this one.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go back and watch it and you see, oh, wow, this was quite different.
Yeah.
So it was really Terminator 2 or bust in those earlier years, and it made a big impact.
Yeah. Now I know you watched it with your son recently. Was that his first outing watching Terminator 1 and 2?
Sure, yeah. So it was his first outing in watching that. He was much older. It was a exciting experience because you could just see in his eyes for the first time watching it. He was so invested. He was so enthralled with what was occurring, and especially the transition of watching 1 into 2, which is quite a transition. It's really interesting looking back at that. James Cameron talked about how you always in a trailer want to lead with the biggest plot point that you have to try to grab the audience, and that is that twist of Arnold being a good guy. Watching that happen real time with my son, having seen the Terminator be a bad guy and all of a sudden become a good guy was pretty fun to watch, because he all of a sudden was, whoa, check this out. I can't believe it. And he was hooked.
Yeah.
Was this pre or post him Avatar watching?
He has seen, my son, he has seen Avatar, and he has seen Avatar 2. He has not, and Avatar 3, actually.
He came with us to Avatar
That's
3.
right.
That's how I knew these.
So
things.
he's a James Cameron expert.
That's what I'm getting at. He's starting to know
Jimmy
the Camerons.
Jimmy Stee.
You thinking about throwing any other JCs at him?
Maybe. I mean, really, the heavy JCs are the Terminators. You know, I'm going to wait a couple years in the Avatars. I'm going to wait a couple years before I throw True Lies at him.
Yeah, probably. Good
But,
idea. That whole scene with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah. We'll save that for a whole nother pod. But True Lies is truly truly, no pun intended, a masterpiece. You know, it's funny to look back at James Cameron's film experience from Terminator 1. I'm going to leave this to the film expert over here and to Thomas Stadler, but he went Piranha 2 into Terminator and then has been on a heater since. Terminator 2, Alien, The Abyss, Titanic, or True Lies in there, Titanic, and then the Avatar movies. Incredible run.
And it's not a big extensive library for him either.
No.
Like, man knows how to make a sequel. As much as he says, like, I don't like making sequels, I feel like he's probably got 5 of the best 10 sequels ever made. Like,
he told Disney just recently, do you want to make $2 billion? That's pretty much the repertoire of his directing capacity is $1 billion plus or bust. And it was really fun to watch these early movies again to see how James Cameron has really evolved. But I mean, focusing in on the Terminator, you know, similar to James Cameron, a limited number of films over a long period of time. And it's been a journey for sure.
Yeah. It's definitely been a long journey for him, and I do kind of miss him making non-Avatar movies. But we'll talk a little bit about maybe his foray back into the franchise that was not, I think, well documented at the time. But Fred, what about you? And I should call out, you calling me the film guy. I know Fred also studied film in college. I don't know if you knew that.
I took a class.
I'm in a room with two film guys. This is tough.
Yeah.
This is tough.
Let me hit you with some knowledge. I saw Terminator 3 first.
What?
I'm younger than you
That's
all.
a true
You
film
fucking
guy.
dinosaurs.
That's a true film guy who's going to start with one of the worst before the best.
Look, I saw the third one at a sleepover. Seventh or eighth grade. I thought it was okay. He didn't really get all the fuss about the Terminator. Obviously, you don't really have context of quality and sequelization even then. I feel that's like in high school you start having those like, I didn't like that. Middle school you're still kind of like, yeah, that was a movie. And so I saw the third one at a sleepover. I remember we went on a road trip, and one of the things we used to do, my grandmother had like a TV in her van. It was a pretty sweet setup, which I'll say quickly is we had headphones. So if you were in the front driving passenger, aka the parents, no one knew what we were watching. Like ripping down the highway, watching American Pie 2 with the windows very open. Everyone can see what we're watching.
Oh, man.
Risky business. That was formidable for me. But we would go to Walmart because there was a time where you could just get VHSs for $5 and they had everything. And I remember they had a 2-pack, 1 and 2, and watching 1 and 2 back to back at night driving, like through the night in the back of a car. Pretty epic way to watch Terminator. I know we're talking tiny screen and all that, but it was all on shitty screens back then. That's like,
Just don't tell James Cameron you watched it on a small screen.
well, that's all there was back then, unless we're having one of those like antique boxes or whatever. No, I think there was flat screens, but not in a van.
Yeah.
So at that point, I was into it. Then there's a big gap. I saw Salvation in theaters. And I've just kind of checked out these other ones as they've come out, streaming, whatever. So I really, really like 1 and 2. I do think 2 is like maybe top 5 action films of all time. Maybe top 3 for me. I would have to think about it, but just a pure action. And I think it's the thing that you kind of put your finger on. Like, we used to make these R-rated family movies, and this has really got the tone of an R-rated family movie, which is crazy. And that's why I think I connected, because that's what I was allowed to watch, were like PG and G movies. So I think that's why 2 has the juice. And then 1 for me has the juice because it's a slasher movie.
Yeah.
And I love a spooky movie. And watching it through that lens, a futuristic slasher film, I love it. So 1 and 2 are big, and I just don't think about the rest of it.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get into obviously all the attempts at making a third and sequels to that and trying to reboot this trilogy over and over again. But I think it's interesting. One, I wanted to call out the point first and foremost that you have like this grandma's like van TV that keeps coming up on these episodes. I feel like we've got like to have like a library of movies that you watched in the van at some point. Like every time you're gonna bring up a movie, I'm gonna ask, was this a grandma's van movie?
Yeah, I would like, I'll think on that too, because there were just like, because it had these like little like compartments up above the seats, and there were like standard a couple movies. Forrest Gump, a great van movie, right? You could throw that on, watch like a half hour of it, get to where you're going, watch the other, on the way back. That was definitely one,
Who was faster, the van or Forrest?
Oh,
Hey, I think the van was faster, but Forrest had that longevity and more hair.
well, I guess he did have a little more of that crop top. I don't know what I'm doing there. 2, I think
There's one thing we can count on, Tom. It's voices.
Yeah, I'm here for it, and I'm gonna have some fun today.
Tom, what about you?
Well, I think what I was gonna pick on though too is you mentioned it's a family R-rated movie. And I do feel like that was something that was a part of childhood, was kind of watching movies way too young. This was definitely one of them, Terminator 2 specifically, right? And it is interesting because I do feel like it's weirdly accessible to kids despite it being pretty violent. And I'm surprised so many kids did watch it. I think Aliens kind of falls in that same camp, which also James Cameron.
Another very family. They're not family movies, but they have these themes and kind of motifs that are very like family movie oriented. Like, what's her name? Boo.
Boo? Like
That's the little kid from Monsters Inc. But same kind of vibe. What's the little
Newt?
Newt.
Right?
Boo, Newt, whatever. Like that's such a like trying to ferry this kid through a dangerous world. To me, that feels like not like a children's movie, but a family movie.
Yeah. But I guess I don't know if you were too young for this, Fred. I know you're only a couple of years younger than us too, but I remember going into Blockbuster. I don't know if you remember this, and the big cardboard cutout of
Who
like
can forget?
Arnold, and like it was so impossible to ignore, and it looks so damn cool with him and his shades on. Pete walked in today with his shades on, and it's just like he's got the shotgun. I can't remember if maybe he has John Connor next to him too. Maybe one of the few characters kid characters in a movie that's just not obnoxious. Like you kind of were like, actually, I would want to be like John Connor. He seems just on the level.
Well, he's a little shit without like being annoying.
Right, and he's smart. He used the whole little ATM.
It was how he was brought up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cutout, I remember I saw a really fun Reddit thread today that was which Terminator without skin, which picture stuck with you the most? And somebody said that the Terminator picture from 3 was the most iconic, but it's got to be the one where he's standing with a gun held, his arm is at a 90-degree angle and he's on like a skull, and in the back it's in the future, it's just dark. I remember that cutout at a Blockbuster.
I mean, just iconography wise, 1 and 2 definitely have the posters. 2 has that great metallic look. If I was gonna have one for my like place though, like up on the wall, I'd want that one. Especially some of these like Japanese posters for Terminator are super cool.
Yeah.
But I would love to have any of those. 2 is the one I think when I used to talk about like the movie box, that's what I picture though. The like metallicized with the gun.
Yeah. Absolutely. But you asked me like my exposure too. So I mean, I remember just seeing that at Blockbuster, and I can't remember the first time watching it, but I think it
Was going to check out Fern Gully and saw Terminator on the.
It probably was both, to be honest. But I do remember watching it with my dad, so that's almost why I asked you about you and your son watching it too. Because I think I remember he having it on, and like I think I sat down to watch it with him, and he kind of gave me a look like, I don't know if I should be letting you watch. And he's like, what does it matter? It's just like violent, and violence isn't real in this. Like, but I remember the first scene that really stuck with me is that unmistakable scene in T2 when he pulls the shotgun out of the box of roses, and I was like, oh shit, that's clever. Like you're like, it looks like he's just carrying flowers around, and then he pulls out the shotgun, and you're like, oh man, shit's about to go down.
Yeah, I think a lot of these moments for me were like almost like I saw them like before I saw the movies. Almost like by the time, because I liked movies growing up, I just never got to them until that age. So I know like these moments, the like metallic Patrick. I almost said Patrick Wilson, Robert Patrick. Those 2 first name guys. So I think I was just thinking also. I saw The Matrix before the Terminator.
Wow.
So here's a question: did you see Robert Patrick first in Terminator 2?
Wayne's World.
That was the answer I was looking for.
Wayne's World, and maybe even Last Action Hero, because they do the same. And in Last Action Hero, they have that cutout, but it's Stallone.
Yeah.
So on top of that, I saw the Stallone version of the cutout before I even saw the regular cutout.
Man, they're already parodying Arnold like left and right, just through. I mean, I guess that's Robert Patrick though for Wayne's World, but yeah, that might have been. No, I think I understood that reference, but it was still so like of the time that you weren't really sure which one you saw first. It's like you don't remember which Star Wars you saw first, right? It's like you just kind of grew up knowing it. But
You don't remember which Star Wars you saw first?
No, I just remember knowing. I just like came to my life knowing the movie. I never had the moment where I was like, "Oh, he's his father." Like it's just there.
it's just been in the back of the brain. Yeah.
Wow.
The only memory I
I'm
have
at
is
a
the
loss.
re-releases. I remember seeing A New Hope but falling asleep because I think that was like I was 7, 6.
You lost hope.
I did. Well, it was like in the summer on like a 90-degree day at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
You needed Hoth. You needed Empire.
Yeah, that would have
Air
been nice.
conditioning.
I think just going in like a midday summer movie for like a 7-year-old, that's an apt
Nice
o'clock.
sleep in a wampa. Yeah. We digress though.
Yeah, no, I mean, and the only Terminator movie I've seen in theaters is Rise of the Machines, because I was like finally getting into Arnold, you know, kind of going into high school or whatever it was at that time, and just getting into the Terminator movies big time, and that was the first exposure. And then after that, I was like, I'll catch Salvation at home, I'll catch Genesis at home, Dark Fate, same thing. So all of them has just been streaming ever since. So. Yeah, that's the only theater experience I've had of the Terminator. And I think I remember being okay with it when I came out, but it's not great. So you get to this, though, too, and it's like, you know, they released that movie. They were like, well, we got to keep this going. There's more story to tell, right? Now it's the war in the future. That movie doesn't do so great, and then we keep moving and we keep moving. I mean, why do you guys think this thing has persevered for as long as it has? Like,
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe this is a good segue into just the movies individually. You know, I was having rewatched all these movies going into this, just trying to catch up. It's interesting. I likened the Terminator franchise to Star Wars, actually, a little bit, where the first movies were just iconic. They made such an impact. They have a gigantic following. Fans loved them, and then they tried again, and it failed. And then they tried again, and it failed. And there are fans out there of the Terminator, of course, but they're getting, you know, kind of in their own way of like, which way should the sequel go, and which should the next iteration be? And that's where we landed today, where, you know, the most recent sequel was in 2019, and it wasn't all that successful. So, I think there's a real question of, do we need more Terminators? I don't know. But as of right now, I think the directionality is kind of out there. And it reminds me a little bit of Star Wars, being a big Star Wars fan, where, you know, it's in a very similar position. We love those originals. We even look back at the prequels and think they're pretty good now. And we look at the sequel trilogy and we say, I'm not sure I needed that.
yeah. Especially the way the sequel trilogy ended. I just feel like it's been on such a sour end note for a while. And now we're finally getting another movie this weekend as of recording.
And everyone's loving it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be there.
I'm already got my ticket.
Me too. Yeah. I'm going to go.
Am I going to get invited?
Oh, is this what we're going to get into right now? This is, we're going to go actually out to Madison. Do the IMAX in Fitchburg.
I'll go to Madison.
Well, I'm going with my wife for our baby moon.
Wow.
You can come if you want.
Is Fred going?
No.
No, I'm going to Thursday. Marcus,
There you go. Date with Greg.
another date with Greg. We've been
Yeah.
seeing a lot of
you
each other recently.
Greg, you and Greg are real.
I've been going to like a movie a week and loving it.
There's nothing better. I remember a time where I was going to a movie a week, and it was just, there's just nothing better. Sit down, nice air conditioned seats. The seats are so much better than they were when I was going to a movie.
True. But, you know, unless that movie is maybe a late period Terminator movie. Because to your, not really question, but what you're putting out there, I would say the Terminator franchise, I think, should just be put in molten lava. You can toss Star Wars in there too while it's going down. Just all of it. Just throw aliens in there.
But
Hey, I've got this Pirates of Caribbean hanging around. I did like Alien Romulus. I'm being extra now.
And
but
also, I was going to say Alien Earth kind of cooked a little bit.
Alien Earth, I did like that.
See, I think Alien trending up.
Yeah, I guess there isn't many
Terminator.
Alien movies I don't like other than Covenant. That's the only one I
That's
don't
a bad
like.
one.
You know, the interesting thing about the Terminator franchise, though, which is important for today's world, is that it is a heavy heavy reference for how AI is becoming so ingrained, entrenched in society. Everyone looks at AI and says, I don't want it to become Skynet. We are constantly referencing the Terminator in today's world with all these, AI implementations and advancements, and who knows what's going to happen in a couple of years. But the bottom line is like it keeps the movie series keeps popping its head up in this time and age because of those advances. It's really interesting to look at.
It's not irrelevant right now. I'll say that if there's a time to be talking about Terminator, it does feel like it's of the present, where we are seeing literally the defense of portion of the government, branch of the government, like using or what do you want to call it? I was going to say LLM, but I guess just call it AI, right? In their defense coding. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, did you watch the movies? Like they demonstrate pretty clearly what the risks are if it does become intelligent enough. And it's just kind of crazy to see that actually happen in real life and be like, oh, maybe you need to have security practices in place. And they're like, no, we don't need none of that. We're better than that. It's like,
we got to get Big Jim in there.
well, Big Jim, he's got some big ideas, and maybe that's a good portion for us to jump into even how he came up with this idea to begin with, right? So, there's a lot of notes on Terminator, and I'm going to try and parse through some of the development of the first one, but it is interesting how it came up, because it was during the release of Piranha 2, which Pete mentioned earlier, which is
Who could forget?
Cameron's first big movie. I mean, so memorable. I've never seen it.
I've never seen it. Fred, you seen it?
I think I have, but I more have watched the Piranha 3D, which is like they kind of like made it a little more campy and fun. It's got a lot of comedians, and I like that a lot.
I don't even know if I've seen any Piranha movies, to be honest. Is it just
Little
killer?
fish bite.
That's it?
Little fish bite you.
But I guess during the release of this, James Cameron was doing his tour, promote the movie, and he had a sickness. He fell ill and had a fever dream about this image of a metallic torso holding a kitchen knife and dragging itself from an explosion.
Who doesn't have that dream?
I mean,
have you seen the drawing of this?
Mm-mm.
There's like a drawing that he like did up because he does these like kind of awesome drawings. He did them for Avatar like back in the 70s. You can see these, but there is a drawing of this image, and it is intense. It's a lot spookier than any of the things we've seen in the Terminator movies.
I think I'll need to look this up. But I mean, he's also the one that draws Rose in Titanic, right? That's his hand doing the sketch. So he's clearly a gifted artist, but I guess he was then inspired by John Carpenter. Fred mentioned this was like a slasher, and that the movie Halloween kind of inspired him to do something that was more sci-fi based. He kind of used this as a launching pad to create this like slasher sci-fi style film, which like we hadn't really seen. We kind of got that with Alien a little bit, but again, that's an Alien. Wow, that's the art? That's creepy.
I'm going to send it to you. Maybe put it in the drop.
Yeah, I should. But I guess Cameron's agent at the time disliked the early concept of a horror film and requested that he work on something else. Cameron just said, get lost. So Cameron went back home to California, stayed with a science fiction writer named Randall Frakes, where he wrote the first draft for The Terminator. He was just influenced by 1950s like sci-fi movies and The Outer Limits. And he did cite Mad Max The Road Warrior, which you can kind of see with like Arnold's style a little bit, right?
Yeah, definitely. I was also thinking of Mad Max already because you said this came to him like when he had like a sick dream, and that's how like Mad Max Fury Road came to George Miller. So I'm just saying these directors feed them undercooked chicken or something. We're gonna get some banging movies. That's all I'm saying.
Back in the day when they're just like dying and like at home, they're like, I'm gonna write a script. So he enlisted his friend to help him write it. His name was Bill Wishart, and they basically worked on the story together. They would communicate by phone, just trading phone calls and reading new scenes to each other. The initial outline of the script actually involved two Terminators being sent to the past. First was sent, was very similar to the Arnold version in the first film. The second version was made of liquid metal, could not be destroyed. Sound familiar?
Sounds familiar.
Cameron felt the technology at the time was unable to create the liquid Terminator, shelved the idea for a later installment.
There's something about Cameron picturing these things and not having the technology to pull it off.
Yeah, it's also just such a Jim thing to be like, yeah, you know, I have this idea, but it's a little too big for where technology is right now. Which, like, I love listening to his interviews, like him on The Town, the podcast. It's good stuff.
He's an eccentric dude.
Yeah.
Kind of a dick,
Oh yeah.
but eccentric.
Loves diving.
He is so
Submariner.
He is such a dick that someone on Titanic laced the food with PCP and got everyone like messed up on PCP. It's craziness.
It's a good way to get movies from directors, it sounds like, you know.
Yeah, he probably decided the
Rotten
painting
chicken
scene.
or lacing food with PCP. Yeah. You know, interestingly about the tech discussion that we were talking about with James Cameron, Terminator 1, fun movie. I think we all agree it was more of a horror slasher build. It has that genre of a large threat chasing you, which of course we've seen in all of, you know, many horror movies, but also in you know, it's a genre we see in video games now where, for example, the Resident Evil series has plenty of examples of that large threat chasing you. But one thing I was going to note about this movie is that the tech in that movie, very limited. It is almost comical at this point to go back and watch it and see a stop motion Terminator chase Linda Hamilton in a factory. I know that moment when it first happened, everyone saw the Terminator without its skin and was just like, wow, look at that. But in today's day and age, and especially after watching these Avatar movies, that's one of those examples where the story holds up. Watching it is kind of tough these days.
I mean, that's the hard thing is when you're trying to be cutting edge with technology, at some point that technology gets dated. We just talked about Star Wars, right? George Lucas, somebody else who was like, well, I didn't have the technology to make that happen. So then he got the technology to make it happen. And now prequels kind of look weird. Like they're almost better sometimes by CGI standards, but also it's like kind of uncanny valley when you look at some of the backgrounds.
There's a balance for sure. You know, and I think James Cameron does a good job of that and did a good job of that in 2. But Terminator 1 was a fun watch. It was obviously iconic. You know, one of the things that I think was interesting, we talked about James Cameron's film trajectory after Terminator was just hit after hit after hit after hit. And this was one of Arnold's first movies too. Of course, he had Pumping Iron, which you know kind of elevated him in the film community. And then he had the Conan movies, and then he went into this. And it is, you know, not to compare against the other movies, but you can see how green he is as an actor at that moment, where he was really just supposed to be this imposing threat. And you know, you can tell he can't speak English very well, which is why he has such limited lines in the movie. He's obviously there for his physique, for his build. He did a hell of a job for just being that imposing threat. But it was really fun to see that first moment with him, because I would argue that this movie had more of an impact for Arnold than it did for James Cameron for their career trajectories. If Arnold doesn't have this type of a role, I don't know that we start to see all these other action movies a la The Rock, like we're seeing now. You know, like he got his break and now he's in all these other movies.
Is this post First Blood? I'm trying to think who got there first.
First Blood is 70s, I believe.
It was?
It's that or it's like 80 or 81. I'm going to look.
Because I'm thinking about like, or maybe Rambo 2 is the better comparison. Because you just said, like, yeah, like, is this really the thing that spawned it? I mean, I think everybody can point to Terminator, Arnold, right? Like, that's sort of like how you build a franchise around.
First Blood is 82.
First Blood is 82? Okay, so this is like 2 years before. So it's like starting to evolve in the 80s and create this thing. And then we get Die Hard as 87?
Yep.
I'm just trying to make the Planet Hollywood connection of it all here.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really good point. I think, James Cameron probably goes and makes something really good. He makes Aliens, right? I think that's really what got him. That seemed like his, like, he's pretty bulletproof, or maybe not bulletproof, but he's a big idea guy who can make money.
Yep. I also would say for especially the first Terminator, one of my favorite parts about it is the more practical kind of old school effects for sure. Like, I think it's the same guy who helped design the alien, not like that weird author or whatever.
Stan Winston?
No, him I'm talking about, but I'm saying there's the other guy who did like the xenomorph design. But I'm talking about just the makeup artist, but he also did like makeup stuff for The Thing. But I really like just like the mirror scene and stuff from the Terminator because I do like seeing those old school effects in practice, even though they do have that jarring kind of claymation weirdness. I just love seeing it. It puts me on edge and makes me feel uneasy.
Well, I like the scene where he's like seeing his like under his arm the wires move, his fingers and stuff, and like that's a practical effect that I think still works really well. And they use some of that in T2 as well, and that shit I love.
T2, they have the awesome thing of having who's the actress's name? She has twin sister, so they can do
Linda Hamilton.
Linda Hamilton, so they can do interesting stuff like with her mirror scene and all that.
Yeah.
Using her sister as like a body double.
You know, one plot point that James Cameron didn't seem to think through is we have the technology to send a Terminator back in time, but we don't have the technology to know which Sarah Connor to kill.
Yeah.
You kind of forget that movie starts with him opening a phone book and just going down the list of killing Sarah Connors until he gets to the right one.
Right.
And by that time, Kyle had already known which, of course, there's plot points there, but which Sarah Connor was the right one. It's just kind of funny to look back and be like, we can do all of this, but we can't find the right person.
Yeah. But you didn't have the visual match to know, right? Because that's like the only existence or evidence of her existence at that point was that photo. And they weren't smart enough to think at the time that the internet was going to be a thing that would be accessible. Right?
I don't know that I would want Skynet writing my book report is basically what I'm getting at this point.
Yeah. You're handling your bank accounts or anything like that. It's funny, though, because when they first were looking at Arnold, so this is ahead a little bit in the history, but it's very fun to look at, too. So Mike Medavoy, who was the co-founder of Orion Productions, who was distributing Terminator 1, told James Cameron, you should interview Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, this guy seems to be big impending force. He's coming up. Like, he's going to be a big star. And he's like, I think you should, audition him for Kyle Reese. And Cameron was like, no fucking way. Like, he's not Kyle Reese. He, in fact, was going to be so difficult in the interview or the audition that he was going to basically just like turn Arnold off to the role completely and just turn him off to the movie so that he could move on and cast somebody else he wanted. But when he met with Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was like really impressed with like how much he like kind of understood the script. And he's like, oh, I really like this villain though too. He's like, it's so interesting that he's like a soulless, like emotionless machine. He's so calculated. And it kind of like occurred to him in that moment. He's like,
Smoke cigars.
and he's really, really big. He's got to be big.
He gets the pump.
But he's like, he's not Kyle Reese, but this guy would be a hell of a Terminator. Like, and that's kind of how it all came together there.
Because I think the rumor has been put to bed about the casting of this movie.
Oh, about like OJ?
Yeah. Wasn't that like, for a while, I thought that was real, but I think James Cameron, like recently I heard was like, no, that was bullshit.
So apparently, and this is from James Cameron now, much of these Wikipedia articles, I feel like when he's not making Avatar movies, he's editing his Wikipedia. But apparently it was this Medavoy guy, this studio exec who was like, what about OJ Simpson? And he's like, no, I'm not even going to bother with that. But it does sound like
better football player than person.
Yeah, he's not a killer. Apparently, also Sylvester Stallone and Mel Gibson were both considered for the role of the Terminator.
Why not?
I could not see Mel Gibson doing this, but Stallone would be funny.
I could see Mel Gibson doing it. I think Stallone would be, because I can wrap my head around they're making a robot and he has an Austrian voice. But if their robot comes out and he's all, hey, over there, is that a Sarah Connor over there? I gotta take care of that right now.
He'd be a little like Judge Dredd, though, right?
I'm surprised they didn't name Dolph Lundgren.
See, that also
that would
makes
have
sense.
worked. That would have worked.
I think this was like right before Rocky IV, though.
Yeah.
So he like wasn't quite on the radar yet.
Dolph Lundgren looks like someone has like a children's toy where you like fill a body thing with like wax and you like seal it and then he gets printed out. Like that's what Dolph Lundgren looks like, which makes sense for
There's
a Terminator.
very few of those actors, but the thing with Arnold, it's interesting to hear you say that because obviously he launched his career with Terminator and then went on to have just a phenomenal career, both, in film and outside of film. He self-admittedly talks about how he only slept 6 hours a day so he could get extra hours to go to film school. I think you start to see that payoff in this movie, and you especially see the payoff in Terminator 2.
Well, I think with his biggest move in his career, and obviously other podcasts and people are going to tell you more about this than we would, but is that he's like kind of a producer, like mastermind behind the scenes. He's making a lot of moves to get the movies made that he wants to get made.
He's business savvy.
He is. I mean, that's why he was a governor, right? Like, and he wasn't a terrible governor either. I think he understands how to get money moved around, how to negotiate, how to talk to people. But I mean, he's also just, I feel like he's kind of disarming as much as he is intimidating a little bit. Like he'll smoke his cigar and be like, what do you think? Isn't this just a great idea? Everybody makes money. Come on, why not? But yeah, it is fascinating to see that this was sort of like, Conan was definitely a big piece of the pie and getting him on the map, but it was Terminator that made him a household name. And I think we can't go too much further without at least mentioning, too, that the co-writer, co-producer on this, too, was James Cameron's then wife, Gail Ann Hurd, because this is a pretty big deal. It's the famous story where he sold her his half of the Terminator rights. She was a producer at this place called New World Pictures. There's like a subsidy of Orion Pictures, but for $1. He sold the rights so that he would have full creative control and could direct the movie and everything like that. This plays a big part in what happens come Terminator 3 and beyond, of how the rights get shifted around. So I want to at least make sure we cover that here, because when they divorce, that creates interesting battles over creative control and property.
Is she pre or post Bigelow?
I think she's pre-Bigelow. Because he also married, I think he married Linda Hamilton, right?
Yep.
James Cameron has a thing for marrying people that are associated with the movies he's in.
Mm-hmm.
Wait.
Or drawing them.
Yeah, I was going to say, or how did he meet Catherine Bigelow, though? Do you guys even know?
The Bill Paxton connection, Near Dark, and just all of, Alien, Titanic. That's the connection I'm seeing between the two.
That makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I guess at the time, Cameron and Hurd were both friends who had worked with somebody who was at Orion Pictures. I'm sorry, I thought the company she worked with was a subsidy. It was just she knew somebody there that could be with Orion, that could be the distributor. So she kind of partnered with them in order to get the movie made. But yeah, so I mean, kind of fast forwarding a little bit, I have to talk about this pitch meeting because this is hilarious. So basically, they needed to pitch the movie to ultimately the main production company, which was Hemdale Films. And Cameron wanted his pitch for the chairman and president, John Daly, there, not the golfer. Just had to jump on that before Pete jumped on it. But he wanted to make a big statement. So he had Lance Henriksen, who's also in Terminator, he's one of the cops, dress up as the Terminator, go to this pitch meeting ahead of him, and like kick open the door, wear like a leather jacket, have fake cuts on his face, gold foil on his teeth, and he just sat in a chair and just didn't do anything, just kind of acted like the Terminator. And I guess like shortly after Cameron arrived and like, told him like, oh, this is just a bit, like, we're just trying to showing you what this Terminator is. This is the pitch, right? And they were so impressed with the screenplay and that this passion for the film that they were like, yeah, we're going to greenlight this thing. But I had to think, I'm like, was this the idea that gave James Cameron, like, I need to cast Lance Henriksen as a cyborg one day or an android in the future Alien movies?
I wonder if that door got fixed.
I would hope so. I mean, I don't know that he kicked down the door. He just kicked in the door.
I like to picture my pitch meetings with doors kicked down.
He loves a dramatic pitch meeting.
He does.
It worked.
The aliens with the dollar sign through the S.
It worked. So, I mean, Terminator 1 was fun, but I think it's time to start talking Terminator 2.
Sure.
Terminator 2 has got to be it's clearly a top 5 movie for me. Meant so much, had so much impact in my life. It's got so many memorable moments. Fred already mentioned that we might need to throw this series in hot lava. Giving him a thumbs up right now.
Thumbs up as he's going into the lava.
This movie was just a blast. It's obviously a clearly different tonality. We talked about that with it's more of a R-rated family film. It would be interesting to see a list of R-rated family films after we've talked about this. I'm curious. I'd have to think on that one. Rewatching it though, Edward Furlong just nailed that role. He makes that movie. Arnold has a clearly elevated role. It's actually kind of interesting to see how much he looks like he's aged from 1 to 2. He looks like a man in this movie. He clearly has more lines. His English has improved. The action is just phenomenal. We get to see James Cameron's other Terminator now that the tech is available. But Edward Furlong at such a young age really did carry this movie. It felt like the energy that he brought, the execution of his lines, the execution of the emotion in his lines was just awesome. And it's from that very first point where he tells his foster parents off and just drives off all the way up to the end of the movie. Of course, it's pretty phenomenal to watch a child actor like that just carry such a film with such a almost intimidating presence of Arnold in the movie. And that's not even including the discussion about Linda Hamilton, who of course was awesome in that movie as well. She meant so much to the first one, carried that role through the second one. But Edward Furlong kept this thing together.
Yeah. Well, and I think, you were like, we should talk about 2. I think we can even kind of talk about 1 while talking about 2. Because if you really boil it down, is 2 not just kind of a rehash in some ways of the plot of 1?
It's like a remix.
A little bit, right? Because ultimately, right, same plot point. Person of interest in the past that is going to impact the future of the war against the machines. They send a Terminator back in time to eliminate said target. In the first one, it's Sarah Connor. In the second one, it's John Connor himself, like her son. So ultimately, the same goal exists. We also send back, or the humans send back somebody who is going to protect said target. Number 1, it's a human soldier, Kyle Reese, who ends up becoming the father of John Connor, incidentally, which creates a funky little time loop that I think we should also kind of talk about too. Is all this predestined, or is there no fate, as the end of 2 suggests?
Let's
right?
save that for 3.
Okay.
The point you bring up is interesting because James Cameron has done this recently, where he has movies that are essentially just rehashes of plots from previous movies. We see that with the Avatar movies. The interesting thing about 2, while similar plot wise, is I think that elevation or escalation of the plot into a different character that you're protecting, from Sarah to John, works at least once. And then it starts to go off the rails in the later movies, of course, because you start dealing with like the multiverse of Terminator. But for that initial first move where you're all of a sudden, Skynet, we failed at killing Sarah. Let's just go for John. that makes some sense. And I think it differentiates the plot of 2 against 1 enough, even though the elements are very similar. Yes.
Yeah. Because I think, as we kind of talked about already, the ultimate twist, and I'm got to be so exciting for someone to see for the first time, is like Arnold being the bad guy in the first one, and suddenly it's like, no. Now he's the Kyle Reese in the sequel. The villain has become the hero, but still, it's also like the enemy, the thing that's seeking them is still a bit stronger than the protector, right?
That's right. And you know what's fun about that reveal, I think we talked about it, is that flower box scene where he's walking down the hallway. And that's the first moment you realize really in the movie that Arnold is a good guy as he tells John to get down. And that's really the kind of the turning point of the movie. Like, okay, now we're going to do something different. And that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Come with me if you want to live.
That's right.
Great line. Pretty classic line, right?
Lots of great lines from that movie.
But I think you do need that equation too of like, here is the same model of Terminator from the first one. He is now the protector. He can't even keep up with the T-1000, right? It's like, he might be smaller in build, but it's just the abilities that he has being this liquid metal, and we see that come to life. And the T-1000 is one of the coolest CGI effects from like back in the day. I
mean, you need an element of we're gonna have to work for this, right? Like one of my favorite animes, Demon Slayer, for example, has an example of having to persevere, having to go above and beyond and power up. And that's what Arnold had to do in this movie for sure.
He did. He literally is laying down his body on the line, right? To get them saved. It was crazy though, because I was reading a little bit about this history. This was Edward Furlong's first movie. He wasn't even an actor. They found him at the Boys and Girls Club in like Pasadena, California. And we're like, this kid's got the right edge for this.
Wonder how that casting discussion went. We need a boy. Let's go to the club.
Yeah, that's what you did back then. Just go out to the Boys and Girls Club.
Get a child actor and move on.
Yeah.
And they will be fine.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Edward Furlong's trajectory is very sad.
Apparently he's doing much better these days.
I hope so.
But
he looked good in Dark Fate.
Macaulay Culkin gives us some hope that these kids can make it out. Well, but yeah, he carried that movie.
I think the Culkins, though, have, I speak about him and his brothers, too. I think they have the support of each other now to cope with all the trauma that their dad and all these other people put on them when they were kids, where I think Edward Furlong was kind of on his own, right? He's like, he didn't really have somebody who could be, if James Cameron is your moral compass, I think you're probably not looking at the right places all the same. I'm not to say James Cameron's a degenerate or anything like that. I'm just saying he's not exactly a father figure. I can't imagine.
Yeah, but that's what this movie's about, father figures.
It is about found family, right? It literally is a family movie, right? It's about the family that you choose in a way, right? I'd like that you did just drop father figures.
Yeah, I was trying to throw a date in and everything, but
I wasn't sure if this was an advertisement segment, so I'll just hang back while you.
No, you can pipe in. Are you going to be there at the June 13th show?
June 13th. Let me check my calendar. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that's how it's done. If you want to talk to Pete about Terminator, come to the Father Figure show on 6/13.
I like it.
You're gonna have to work Terminator into the set.
Hey, maybe we will. For me, T2 is definitely about moments and scenes, and like I can just rewatch like chunks of this movie. The big ones for me, obviously, are like the scene that you're talking about, the roses through the chase. I love it's a smaller chunk, but where they call the foster parents. And he does the little trick and is like, your foster parents are dead. And then he beats up those guys. Great. And then the mental institution. Just amazing. The lighting, the use of effects. Then he's back in his like slasher bag almost. And I'm loving it. And when I went back and rewatched the second one, I didn't do it for this pod because I actually just picked up the 4K within the last year. which maybe we'll talk about in the coulda, woulda, shoulda section. But I did not realize that there was still a lot of those kind of tenser suspense moments in the first part of that movie, and then it kind of ends more like what we think of a James Cameron movie now, like an Aliens or an Avatar, with kind of like a bigger thing. I think that's what separates 1 and 2 is 1 is kind of small, even though there's like a bigger world around it. It's a small
Contained.
story,
Yeah.
contained. 2 starts contained and then opens up very big, but it doesn't lose you.
Yeah, 2 was not Cameron's first experience in this, but it definitely has more world building than 1. 1 had the here's a threat. 2, even with the whole segment with Dyson, they saved all the elements of the Terminator, and that's what's building up to it.
Yeah.
All of those details just paint that picture of the constant flash or fever dreams of Sarah, where she's seeing things blow up. All of that is really it helps build that threat up, that world building.
And it's funny you say that though too, because I was surprised at how much, and I hadn't rewatched The Terminator in a long time. So seeing how much took place in the future, like even the flashbacks or flash forwards, I guess, of like whatever you want to call them, but of like the actual war in the future and like this situation, I was like, I forgot how much context we got for like what people are going through in the future, like what Kyle Reese's experience was there. Because so much of that, I mean, truly, the Terminator walks so Terminator 2 could run, in my opinion. Literally, as you imagine Robert Patrick doing his like Tom Cruise run after the
to that
car.
point, Terminator 2 walked so True Lies could run. It's really funny to look at True Lies now, completely different, world, completely different element, but you can see the humor being planted with Arnold in Terminator 2, which was, of course, like completely absent in Terminator 1, and how that translates into True Lies, which, of course, was a movie not too long after Terminator 2. So,
like 3 years, 2 years.
yeah.
Like that.
So, and starring, very similar types of people, including Arnold, of course. So,
2 Arnolds.
Tom Arnold. That's true.
Can't forget the Tom Arnold
That's true. It's my favorite kind of
and
Arnold.
Bill Paxton.
Yeah, Paxton pops into a couple of these movies. Would have loved to have seen him in Avatar.
Yeah. Too bad. R.I.P. Bill Paxton. He would have been. But yeah, the fact that, Bill Paxton is in the Terminator.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. He's just the random guy, and he's like in the beginning.
He's in that and Aliens, but he's also, like I said, he's in Near Dark. So he was cooking at that time.
Yeah.
Lance Henriksen's also in Near Dark, so that could have also been the connection.
That's true.
If he's pulling him into pitch meetings, maybe they have a closer relationship.
Where do you guys rank Terminator 2 in your action movies of all time?
All time.
Like I
Man.
said, top 5, and I've had to think I might put it in top 3.
I don't know that there's many that beat it. It's darn near a perfect movie, if not a perfect movie.
Because it's like, for me, like Matrix, Die Hard, that.
Christmas movie? Die Hard?
Yeah, why not? I don't care.
Matrix, Die Hard.
I don't police people's categorization of movies.
It's a Christmas Eve. Institution at my house.
Terminator 2 is.
No, Die Hard. But
Terminator 2 is a
Yippee-ki-yay.
great June or July movie. That's a summer watch
it's a
movie.
light beer movie.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one though. I think you're right though. It's top 5 easy, maybe top 3. I don't know if it's number 1 with a bullet. I mean, I love The Matrix. I love Die Hard. Fury Road is even crawling up. The more I keep thinking about that movie rips.
Yeah, that one's for me. I'm not vehicles don't excite me, but those movies work for me despite that. So it's just hard for me to put them higher. I can would be fine with any listing that has them in even the top 3 or 5.
It is the dudes pole vaulting over a truck, which is so good. I love a good truck set piece, and we get a good truck set piece in this movie too. I love him chasing them on the motorcycle in that like ravine in LA.
This is my favorite vehicle based action scene.
It's just James Cameron. He can write a good chase scene. I'll say that. Even some of the chase scenes, even in the Terminator 2, are like very good. Just Kyle Reese kind of like running from the cops.
Yeah, his chase scenes really paid off in Titanic.
Yeah. I mean, listen, wouldn't you be shooting after somebody when the unsinkable ship is flooding?
That's right. It's funny. We were talking about reused plot points. Could you imagine the reused plot points for for Titanic 2?
I mean, yeah, that boat gonna sink again, right?
That's right. That's right. That's right.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Robert Patrick is great in this. I think he's the newcomer in the movie. Same with the guy. Oh my God, I got to look his name up. Who plays Miles Dyson? I always think he's doing less with more. But the great bit that I read today, did you guys know who was supposed to be Miles Dyson originally?
No.
Denzel Washington.
Hey.
Can you imagine Denzel in that role?
I would love it. I think any movie that has Denzel Washington in it is a decent movie.
I just can't imagine. Like, the problem I think of casting Denzel in that role is you're like, why isn't Denzel doing something about this? Like, and I think that's why he turned it down. He said he didn't want to play scared.
This looks a little unequal.
Yeah.
And he would probably need to equalize it.
It's because he's the equalizer. Is that what you're trying to do?
We got it. We got it.
Joe Morton is the Miles Dyson role. And
Martian Manhunter.
Is he Martian Manhunter?
In the Snyder Cut, he is.
Is that right?
Tom's erased that from his
Snyder Cut. That was a lot of movie to watch.
Yeah, a lot of good movie.
Debatable.
Have we done a State of DC?
No.
It's like that would be Tom's saddest podcast ever.
We've done we did the Batman and we lumped in Schumacher and Burton.
But
We
still
haven't
gotta
gone
do
back.
Nolan and eventually Matt Reeves.
Joe
And
committed to all those before covering anything else.
what do you think? Joe wants to cover something else? I've never heard
I
that.
don't know. But I did have an
Somebody
idea.
else is negotiating behind the scenes.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it what he does negotiating. But I did, we did recently see Mortal Kombat 2, and I was like, I think it might be time to have Josh Randall on for Mortal Kombat.
Was that a good movie?
No, but it would be fun to hear him talk about it.
I would have.
And-
I gotta go see this movie.
I'm just saying we got to get back into Terminator, but we set up the microphones and we're testing. Test your mic.
Oh, now that's good.
See, that's worth doing the whole
See,
episode.
The thing that you're missing right now, Fred, is Pete's fake mad because he saw that we went to Mortal Kombat 2. But I was like, this was all part
This
of
isn't the first time I haven't been in.
This was a pandemic promise, though.
Yeah, pandemic promise to double
There were
P.
pandemic promises made.
Well, we watched this,
Pandemic promises delivered.
yes, with some other friends from improv, and we did a watch night during the pandemic, watching the first one, and we were like, if there's a sequel, which it looks like there's gonna be, we're gonna go see this. We did. It was good. So I don't know that you missed much. It was okay.
Okay. Maybe someday I'll get the invites to the movies.
I'll send you a
See, these
message
ne-
anytime I go to a movie.
These negotiations. You're going tonight with Greg. Yeah. These negotiations for this podcast were so contentious. I lost out on movie invites. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
That's the sacrifice.
When
It's
I
the
when I
sacrifice.
get to talk more about Demon Slayer, it'll pay off.
Now,
Is that
don't
a
forget.
band?
It turns out it is actually, but
But don't forget, gave you the invite to Demon Slayer. That was when we went solo.
do we have more on 2? Because I have a pandemic connection to a sequel here.
Oh,
All right. I think pretty much 2. I'm done with 2 unless you've got a little note you want to throw in there.
no, I mean, I think the biggest thing I want to note about 2 is that it is the highest grossing
He had a note.
Terminator movie. It was the 3rd highest grossing movie of all time worldwide. After, do you guys want to guess what number 1 and 2 were? So this is 1992,
Star Wars?
correct? That was number 1.
Is it something like that?
Ish. It's similar genre.
No, those don't make a lot, right?
Similar genre. Maybe a friend of the director.
So Spielberg,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not. Is it not an Indiana Jones?
No,
It's E.T.
Yes, it is E.T. So you
Phone
have
home.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars, E.T., and then Terminator
R-rated
2.
family film. E.T.?
Well, it's PG.
PG.
Was that a van movie?
No.
That's a really good question. I'm glad you asked that.
I'm still thinking on van movies. Like, again, like Forrest Gump was a big pull.
I want to talk a little bit. I'm going to notice a little bit here because I think the journey from 2 to 3 is pretty fascinating. So stick with me here and jump in where you see fit. 1991, July, Cameron said that if Terminator 2 is successful, there may be some economic pressure to do a sequel. So we're all the way back in 1991. He's talking sequel, right? Gail Ann Hurd, his ex-wife, who was co-producer on this, I've always felt that the story lent itself wonderfully to being a continuing tale. She believed that it was natural that a third movie would happen, but unsure at the time if Arnold would reprise his role as the Terminator because he was getting big and he's getting very expensive. There's a pretty famous stat, I think, that he made something like $1 million per 10 words or something like that for this movie. It's kind of insane. It's tough to imagine that movie without him. I think this is where they were at. They needed to get Arnold, but James Cameron's commitment, I think, is just as critical here, right? Because it's like he's been the guy behind these first two. It's his baby. Like, what happens if he's not involved? So following Terminator 2's release, Cameron said he had no intentions for further sequels, but he believed at the time that it brought the story to a full circle and an actual end. And the ending at this point was a good idea.
Smart guy.
Hindsight, is he right?
Yeah, I personally I think Terminator would have been sitting better in history and in my mind without 3 through 6, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think looking at the ending of 2, it makes sense that it could be a conclusion. They destroy all the components that you could build such an idea off of. Dyson dies. Who knows what happens with Cyberdyne and things like that. Not to coin another movie, but Jurassic Park, life finds a way.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, and we'll talk about 3. I'm more of a kind of a philosophical look at these movies, and I like what 3 did at the end of that movie, where it's basically whatever we did to try to prevent this, it's still going to happen. Mm-hmm. And so I think that those plot points work, and I understand where James Cameron's coming from in saying that I wrapped it up. He did, but there is potential for other movies. Mm-hmm. And I think, what you were saying, they're spot on. It was all economic pressure.
Yeah.
It was all economic pressure for sure.
Because he was done. They thought they were pretty happy with how it ended, right? It was actually when he did the 3D film ride. My guy, I love his 3D
Battle Across Time.
Yes. That would open in 1996, reunited the cast. And James Cameron was like, I think I might have something for a third movie. He starts writing a script for 3. He's like, I got an idea. But he said it would not be ready for a few years, and he was busy working on Titanic, a little-known movie called Titanic with Fox. At the
Drawing.
Have you shown your son Titanic yet?
No. I'm gonna have to wait on that one. One point about Battle Across Time, that was
Have you seen it?
I have. I think when I was a kid, I might have ridden on this ride.
Oh, nice. I've never done it.
Because it's gone now.
It is gone, and that's where my pandemic comment, it actually died out. It existed in Hollywood, Florida, Universal Studios, as well as in Japan. And it was finally shuttered in 2020 after the pandemic in Japan, and it's been gone since. It's funny to hear James Cameron say, okay, I'll do this. I don't want to do this because of economic pressure. I need to make sure that I have a good idea. He goes in, does this ride, cash grab, and then says, I've got an idea for 3, probably another cash grab. This ride featured a new Terminator, a super Terminator, as they get to Skynet. Take a guess on what this Terminator's model was?
2001.
the T-1
That's big.
1 million. That works, right?
Sure.
We go from 1,000 to 1 million.
Oh, do you know?
Not a cash grab.
100,000?
Not a cash grab. Not a cash grab. It was a liquid metal spider, essentially,
Ooh.
that was protecting Skynet's core. T-1 million. Just think of that.
It's wild. So, but this is basically same cast, and they're just trying to.
This was coined as a direct sequel to 2
Interesting.
in canon.
What
So-
happens in it? So they are just going to destroy Cyber.
So it's interesting because rides have a you guys have done Disney pods.
Yeah.
Rides have queues that you have to wait in before you get into the actual ride, and the whole idea is it has this Cyberdyne propaganda feel where they're boosting your excitement about Cyberdyne products, so Cyberdyne survives, and then ultimately it gets into a time travel adventure where they go after Skynet. And if I rode on this ride, I was a kid in California. It was a fun ride, but nonetheless, what I think is interesting is that Cameron's first attempt at a sequel to 2 was a ride.
Mm-hmm.
Not a movie, not a show, but a ride.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of paints the picture of this thing ain't going to work after number 2 if we're going to go down the ride route for a sequel.
I mean, it's a spectacle. Have you seen it?
No, like that was before my time. Not like I know, just before my time of going to Universal. When I went to Universal, it was gone.
So, yeah, and I think I can see why he got the itch to start writing a 3. But yeah, maybe you're right. He's like, I've got a fun idea for like something that's like a spectacle, but it's not a self-standing thing. But he did start talking with Linda Hamilton right after that about reprising her role as Sarah Connor. But the sequel rights ultimately would be auctioned through U.S. bankruptcy court because he already sold part of his rights, and some of that went up for auction because the companies that were owning the rights to the movies went bankrupt. So he was really lobbying for Fox to make a bid on Terminator and be like, you guys buy this, I'll make a 3 for you. We're going to make money, right? Which, like you said, do you want to make $2 billion to Disney, who now owns Fox, ironically? But I guess there was 9 months of negotiating with James Cameron, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Gail Ann Hurd, and later in regard to her share of the sequel rights. So they just couldn't take it and run. They had to get her every aspect of buy-in, and I believe they were divorced already at this time. So I don't know if it was just amicable or just tough. But long story short, eventually Schwarzenegger had pitched to James Cameron about just the 2 of them buying the rights themselves. Be like, let's just dump a shit ton of money in this. Let's buy this property. This will be us, just us 2. I mean, they're great friends. Like, even now, they are very good friends. I'm surprised Arnold's not an Avatar, to be honest. Or I'm sorry, Avada, as we saw at the Oscars. You guys remember that one?
Yeah.
Nope.
So Schwarzenegger said, though, that Cameron was not interested in this idea and wanted to let Fox handle the rights. He didn't want to own it himself. He was like, I'd rather the studio do it. But he didn't realize that Schwarzenegger didn't realize that Fox was lowballing Cameron pretty badly. Like, they were offering him like $750,000, like, to buy this thing. And they're like, he's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Anyway, moving ahead, basically in the post-production of Titanic, Cameron is losing his grip on reality because the post-production is taking forever. He can't pull his shit together. And he's like, I might have to bow out of this thing. I don't know that I can pull this off. And Schwarzenegger was like, but if you don't do it, I don't want to do it. Like, he's like, you're the reason I'm wanting to do a sequel. And Cameron eventually advised Schwarzenegger, and he quote, said, if they can come up with a good script and they pay you a lot of money, don't think twice. Take the money, make your movie, right? So ultimately, there was the former co-founders of one of the production companies that had produced T2 came up with the money to buy the rights. They actually got inspired when they were visiting the set of Titanic, and they talked to James Cameron, and they were like, what do you think about 3? And he's like, I don't think I can do this. Like, he's like, this is crazy. I am so caught up. Obviously, it was a gambit that paid off for James Cameron. Titanic ended up beating all those movies we just talked about in terms of money. But yeah, so they ended up hiring a new writer, Ted Serafian, to write the first draft of the script. Schwarzenegger signed on. Edward Furlong had originally signed on in August 2000 to reprise the role of John Connor. That same year, Lyndall Hamilton said, I'm out. Like, she didn't like the script. She's like, if James Cameron's not involved either, I don't want it. She said they did not take her character in any new directions. The film is really about turning the baton over to John, played by Eddie Furlong. She's like, this is Eddie's movie and Arnold's. This is a no-win situation for me. I'd rather let them have it. Kind of sad hearing that out loud when it's like, in the end, nobody got a win out of this. So, director Jonathan Mostow joined the project in 2001. Ended up replacing Furlong because of his substance abuse issues. They were like, he cannot be relied on to be a part of this movie. He's just so in deep shit offset. So ultimately, they started a casting hunt, replaced him with Nicholas Stahl, and they started moving forward, had the rewrite of the script with the new writers, and basically the whole story got rewritten from whatever it was supposed to be with Cameron directing into what we ended up getting, which was the Rise of the Machines, and Arnold basically being the only holdover from the previous franchise. So interesting stuff, because I think I lament, as much as I like your point on the ending of 3, of like, I think the idea of it being inevitable is interesting. I really am curious what the hell Cameron had in his store for him and what they could have done if they brought everybody back, right? Like if it felt like another true sequel, because this feels like it doesn't quite feel like a sequel to 2. Do you guys know what I mean when I say that?
Well, that's because Nick Stahl isn't gonna be the dude with the big old scar on his eye in a year or two. Like, you gotta make John Connor look like somewhat more badass, not a little dweeb. They went from firing a guy who had substance abuse issues to hiring a guy who looks like he has substance abuse issues.
Yeah.
You bring up an interesting point, just again, plot points with the Terminator series. The years and how they align don't fit very well.
No.
It is, like you mentioned, in just a couple years, he's supposed to be this battle hardened person leading a resistance, and that didn't work. I'm gonna push back a little bit on this, because I think that Terminator 3, and actually if you go on, the social media sites of today, Reddit and so forth, Terminator 3 is actually like looked back on somewhat positively, especially in comparison to these most recent movies. Fred's first experience with Terminator, if I recall correctly, I think from a timeline perspective, this actually worked. Now casting aside how the actors looked, I get that. But from a timeline perspective, it works. The idea here is that Sarah dies. John is struggling because of the pressure of, first of all, not having his mom, who he's gone through everything with, essentially, even when she was in lockup, essentially, and then is struggling, and he finds a connection with a vet, if I recall correctly, who ultimately becomes his wife in the future. And that whole point is a good continuation from where you end in 2. Like, he's struggling, and this pressure of, you talked about the mind meld of like dealing with Kyle Reese, where you're getting sent back in time, but you're the father of the leader of the resistance. John has to deal with this pressure of what could still happen. Did I stop it? And that works in T3. The other thing is that in T3, it actually queues up well into T4 or Salvation, which at least provides some continuity. The remaining movies in the series have their own, and we can discuss this as we get to them, but have their own caveats to how they actually fit into this timeline. But at least T3 worked.
Right.
And the idea of Judgment Day being inevitable does work with the existing story.
Mhm.
You think you stopped it, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It will always happen. And that reveal at the end of the movie where they go to, I like to, you know, we have all this cool technology and stuff like that, but when you know, Cloudflare goes down and we can't get onto any of these services, what are we going to do? Sometimes the old tech works best.
Yeah.
The Skynet, you know, resistant technology in a bunker in the middle of a mountain. The story isn't the best. It's not the best acting. It had Arnold, who was propelling himself into a political career at the time.
Nursed by a PG-13 rating.
It should have been R. But ultimately, I think it did work as a as a sequel. I would be curious what James Cameron had in his mind. Of course, I think we always play those what ifs. We do that with Star Wars, but nonetheless, I think this one worked where other ones didn't.
I think my biggest issue with 3, and I liked the movie when it came out enough. Like, I thought it was like, this was fine. But this ultimately kind of felt like, even at the time, it just sort of felt like something different. Because it was ultimately somebody else's vision. And I, you know, not to put James Cameron on this kind of pedestal or whatever, but obviously we all were there, you know, opening weekend for Avatar Fire and Ash. It's like when the guy releases a movie, it's appointment viewing. Like, you go and you make it. Another invite to you, by the way. Just to drive that home, though, as I felt like you lose a little bit of something when you don't have that same vision, when you don't have that carryover cast, because it does feel like ultimately now you have a sequel, but we've basically recast half of the roles, or we've offed the people we couldn't bring back, and we've had to kind of make concessions, PG-13 being one too. Even if I feel like the story was right, we're still hitting the same beat, though, again, of like, well, but we're still going to send another Terminator back to kill him. It's like, couldn't we maybe like have just like,
how many Fast and the Furious movies have made $1 billion? How many
Right.
how many Jurassic Parks have worked? You know, like, you can rehash the same plot points and have pretty entertaining and successful movies. And I
Yeah.
think they failed a little bit at that, obviously, because it wasn't well received. But I still think it works, like, story-wise, and you don't always have to have the same people.
sure.
That's my problem with most franchises, is like the dependence on telling the story of how they all started. Like Star Wars is a big one. This is one where, like, why does it have to be about John Connor? I think that story's been kind of told. I would like to see more other stories in this world. I think you can tell a smaller story from someone else within this world. I could see that there's nothing objectionable about this movie. It just doesn't hit even the lows of the other two for me.
Yeah, I think it's just it's safe in some ways, right? They're trying to play on even a little bit the nostalgia of 1 and 2, I think, in this a little bit of like, we've got to have Arnold be the protector again.
And I think that's the major issue where a lot of these future Terminators go awry, is that dependence on Arnold. Arnold in 3, as we already mentioned, was heading towards a political career.
Yeah.
Made a record at the time, if I understand correctly, $30 million for this movie.
Yeah.
He, you know, this reminds me kind of where The Rock, I mentioned him earlier, but is sitting currently in today's movies, where he was a spectacle in a variety of movies, must watch, and then it gets a little drawn out. And this was, you know, there weren't many Arnold movies after this that were must watch.
Yeah.
This might have just been, I mean, it was a 12-year jump, development hell, from 2 to 3. We might have just been at the tail end of Arnold, and the reliance on Arnold, which continued all the way up through 2019, might have just been too much.
Yeah. I do, because I think you can't push it forward when he's calling a lot of the shots Which, I mean, yeah, he was using his clout at that time, right? It's like, look at his
This is
his
the
career.
the Black Adam of Terminator movies.
Sure. Because, I mean, it's like, yeah, he's like, look at Total Recall. Look at all these movies I've been in that were hits. But it's really, I mean, Terminator 2 is maybe his last, like, big good movie. I guess, no, True Lies. You're right. That's really the last good movie. But even that, I felt like had some people who were detractors of sorts. As much as I think that movie's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I think from a story perspective, now execution perspective is something completely different, but
Sure.
from a story perspective, I think 3 works. And I think that holds up against the other ones. And what's interesting about 3 is that it has been the attempt to erase 3 in subsequent movies has been essentially the focus of all these other movies. How can we restart this without 3?
Yeah, Genesis is very much like The Last Jedi, or the
Rise
Rise
of
of
Skywalker.
Skywalker, and 3 is like The Last Jedi.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Which that's not a bad thing, because I think I agree with you in that I don't think 3 is a bad movie. I think I remember I bought the DVD.
It's just not up to the standards that we were hoping for. That was a spectacle.
But
We were waiting for another Terminator movie.
Right.
And that's what we got.
ultimately, though, when you're coming off of 2, what is ever, especially if it's a 12-year wait, either way, what was possibly going to top 2, right? Like, I think James Cameron probably knew that deep down.
It's the Godfather 3 to Godfather 2.
I mean, or look at Avatar 3, right? It was like, how are you going to top? Well, I guess everyone was like, how is 2 going to top 1? And I kind of like 2 better than 1, to be honest.
Two's the premium for me.
Yeah. So, Fred, you brought up an interesting point when we were talking about reliance on characters, do something new. One of the reasons 3 works is because I think it leads into 4.
Sure. And you like Salvation, right?
I did. I think not, we've been referencing Star Wars here a lot. Maybe you'll have to add like Terminator / Star Wars to this / James Cameron.
It is May.
We did not do a Star Wars episode,
Slash-
not yet this month, so.
/ James Cameron just think tank. 4 works because you see that Judgment Day is going to happen. And then they completely jump into the future and do something completely different. And that was cool. That was cool. That was unique. And that, in hindsight, was probably the direction that they should have stuck with. Obviously, the fans didn't react to any of these movies that we're discussing at this point. But like, nonetheless, the idea of going into the future, which you'd only seen as a glimpse in previous movies, worked. And it introduced new characters. I mean, it kept some of the originals. You had John, you had Kyle, but now all of a sudden you have this new character who was long ago part of a clinical trial, essentially being on death row, that turns out to be this hidden cyborg that had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
And that was unique. That was new. That had no reliance on Arnold. Arnold's only presence in that movie was just essentially a screen grab of him being superimposed on somebody else. That was a direction I thought worked. I really enjoyed this movie. It of course also spawned the Christian Bale meme of him just like yelling at everyone.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, this was an exciting movie. It was new. It was fresh. Execution could have been better, maybe. But I personally liked it. It's my Rogue One of movies.
You mentioned
in the Terminator
that.
series, yeah.
Just because you feel like it is more of the darker theme, the more dire circumstances.
It's got a different feel for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, certainly, I think they were pulling some of the right switches by getting Christian Bale to being John Connor. Like, okay, Nicholas Spall, he's got the
He doesn't have
charisma
the
of a
scar.
Doesn't have the scar.
He has the charisma of a gopher, right? He's just really not, he's good in Sin City.
Yeah, I was
but
going to
that's
say
it.
good in Sin City, but other than that,
He's good when he's a little weasel, but like you need him to be a strong leader of the resistance. Who better than Batman, right? Like we're literally
Who better?
pulling in
Who better?
to the point where, so when they were making this movie, and this is one of my favorite notes, apparently like McGee, who's the director, I love that he just calls himself McGee, claims that like Jonathan Nolan was essentially the lead writer. He did a shit ton of rewrites. Christian Bale brought him in, being like, my guy knows how to write a movie. Look at the Dark Knight trilogy. Jonathan Nolan got pulled away though because it was kind of the part of the writer's strike in 2008. He had to go work on a different project, so he couldn't really stick with it to keep the rewrites going as they were getting to the finish line. And it seems like he put a lot of good seeds in place that he wasn't able to see through, and they ended up having to have other writers kind of rewrite his stuff to fit where they were going with it. And I think Christian Bale kind of felt that the energy kind of gets sucked out when he left.
I think this movie's okay. I don't like the palette. It's just very like gray, kind of boring toned. And I guess I was also let down that this movie didn't quite scratch the itch of what I think people wanted out of a new Terminator movie, which was we want to see like the war. We want to see like the future. And it takes place in the future, but it's pretty much just focused on, like you've been saying, the Rogue One. It's focusing on being a prequel to me too much. And I would have just liked a movie. I do think the Sam Worthington stuff is interesting. I do like some of the weird monster things, kind of like the spider from the ride that are in this movie. I like the use of Alice in Chains, of course. It's always good to see our guy Anton Yelchin, but also another weird like that he's gonna grow up to be Michael Biehn, who's gonna grow up to be what's his name in Genesis?
Oh, Jai Courtney.
Jai Courtney.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like the concept. I still feel like it never delivered on what I thought they were going to be giving us, which is like the Terminator War movie.
Yeah. I think it didn't help. We talked about already that Christian Bale had that leak happen before this movie came out of him berating the guy, which actually I think a lot of people who were at the scene that have gotten interviewed now have said the guy was not doing his job well. That doesn't give you the right to chew him.
You shouldn't yell at anybody, but you know.
It's like, yes, he was an amateur, but also don't sit there and bitch at this guy the way you did. Like, there's a way you can handle that. So I feel like that kind of put a stink, because it also kind of burst this whole bubble on Christian Bale and being like, oh, is he a difficult actor on set? And he's kind of had to live those down since then. And I mean, I think he's kind of overcome that a little bit. I think he's maybe made good that there's more good stories about him than bad now. But
yeah, I feel like it was probably not a moment he's proud of, but then again, they're probably in some godforsaken like set or location that's probably hot, shitty. They have a director named Mick G. Jonathan Nolan was gonna like beef up this movie that you were excited about, then he can't because there's a writer's strike. So the thing is, an actor that, especially an actor like Christian Bale, that you're glomming onto, not the cool effects, not the music video vibe. I think, that's going to make tensions run high.
yeah.
That being said, Sam Worthington, what an elevation for him, because he actually got recommended to this movie through James Cameron because of his work on Avatar.
Right, which was already in post-production at this time.
Right.
Yeah.
So both movies came out in the same year. And and now Sam Worthington's part of iconically took the role from Matt Damon, right?
Right.
So he certainly delivered. Bale, despite everything else, delivered. We mentioned Helena Bonham Carter is in the movie.
HBC.
I know.
That film guru Thomas Statler didn't even
For the
remember.
listening audience, earlier today, Pete was like, well, we got to talk about Helena Bonham Carter. And I'm like, gun to my head, I couldn't tell you which movie she was in. Because I figured...
Harry Potter.
I figured it was... Well, yes, that one
Fight
too.
Club.
Fight Club, yeah.
Fight Club. Shot off Sweeney Todd at this time. I know that.
Right.
Sweeney.
I knew she was probably in Salvation. But I was also like, could she have been in Rising Against the Machine? Claire Danes was in that movie. Like... We didn't even talk about Claire Danes.
It was Salvation. Yeah, Claire Danes was good.
Yeah.
She played a great
When's she
bad.
bad?
When is she bad? That's a good question.
right.
Too.
That's
Homeland.
right. That's right.
Never
Oh, yeah.
seen it.
Homeland good.
Homeland.
Homeland good for like 3/4. It's one of those, like, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Did Jonathan Nolan use Salvation to as a test case for Westworld?
I don't think this was Westworld time. No. That's very funny though. But I think, was this Person of Interest, or what's that movie with, or the show with Jesus? Isn't Jim Caviezel in that show?
No, it's something
That's
Target.
James Spader, but yeah.
No, I know the one you're talking about. It's like him and the
or
guy
person
from
of
Lost.
interest. Oh wait, no.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the other James Spader.
Jim
movie.
Caviezel
Yeah.
and
Normal guy.
the guy from Lost with the glasses.
Oh, yeah.
It's those two.
Dude who is always good.
He's in Fallout.
Yes.
Yes. Always good. I can't think of his name, but yeah, he's good. Anyway,
Nailed it.
We're not talking about person of interest. We're still trying to get through these movies. Salvation, a movie that I didn't get a chance to revisit. I kind of wish I had because I don't have a lot to say about it, but I think you guys kind of said it all.
Yeah.
So we're at kind of a crossroads though in terms of the movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have not been performing quite to the expectations, despite I think pretty good box office performance. Ultimately, they needed to make a certain amount of money to make these things profitable. And right now, the Terminator franchise is switching studios like every movie. It's getting tough. They're like, we just need something new. We need a new direction. We need a new reboot. They end up, the guys who are running it or owned the rights to the movie had to end up selling. And I think it was Universal who tried to make a play for it. Speaking of Fast and Furious, wanted Justin Lin to direct the 5th Terminator movie.
Hell yeah.
Probably would have ripped.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And he was going to have Chris Morgan, who I think was also a writer on Fast
Did you
and
see
Furious.
the list? I hope you're getting into this, but the list of prospective directors for this
Oh,
movie.
God, yeah. No, that's exactly where I'm going with this. This is so important, I think, to get into. Because ultimately, it was Annapurna Pictures that bought the movie, but they kept the idea of Justin Lin being in there. So they purchased the rights to make at least 2 more Terminator movies, Annapurna Pictures. So this was Megan Ellison and David Ellison. So after acquiring rights to the project, they asked Cameron for his input on a new film. Cameron met several times with them, discussed a lot of things. At this point, though, they're already kind of talking with him a little bit. And there's some questions like, is he going to come back? So Justin Lin, he's like, I got Fast and Furious 6. I'm out. I'm going to go do this. And that's
Hell
what
yeah.
arguably.
The Rock is calling.
Yeah, right. So Paramount Pictures confirmed as a distributor. They bought the rights. They throw out the pitch of these directors to the movie. Do you know this?
No.
Ryan Johnson being one,
Okay.
Ang Lee being another,
Hey.
Denis Villeneuve,
Hey.
number 3. They were like, no, not them. Alan Taylor, the guy who did Thor 2. Let's get him in here.
The Dark World?
The Dark World.
Okay.
This seems like an episode of The Studio.
A little bit. Which, listen, Alan Taylor's credit this time was that he was a pretty heavy director on Game of Thrones. You can see where we're going with this, right? Considering the casting that ends up happening. So I think he was getting that was kind of his credit to get Thor 2. And they were probably like, well, Thor 2 looks good. It's just not a good movie. It's not a good script. So you get into this, and it's just like, boy, what a take either of those guys would have had instead, right?
I mean, I'm trying to think who would I want. Say him again.
Ang Lee,
Ang Lee, that's who I want.
Denis Villeneuve,
Yeah.
Ryan Johnson.
Yeah.
What are your top 3 directors? Because I saw this list and I was like, I bet one of them's on the top 3.
Villeneuve's probably up there right now.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I love Dune.
Yeah.
He loves sand.
Yeah, I think it might be a little too austere feeling. I think Ang Lee has some fun.
You think it would be too austere? What? But Dune is pretty.
Austere, I think.
Maybe. But I feel like he could bring something interesting to this. He's going to do James Bond. And I think this is really where he's going to make hay. But also Blade Runner 2049. And that was a really cool take on a franchise where he revived. In fact, probably not getting this opened him for Blade Runner 2. And Blade Runner 2 is a way better movie than Genesis. Hands down. I mean, I'm a big fan of that movie.
Genesis is a poopy.
Imagine Genesis as a Knives Out movie.
It would be
A whodunit.
that would be kind of fun actually though. What if it was a whodunit of who's the Terminator?
Who was the resistance soldier that tackled John as Kyle was transporting back?
Good question. Garrett,
This movie sucked.
it's not good.
Yeah, I think we pretty much beat around the bush on this movie.
Yeah, it's like
Fun
Go ahead.
Like fun development hell, fun coulda, woulda, shoulda with all of those actors,
Directors. But yeah.
directors. This movie, it had actors and actresses. It had Arnold again. It had a premise that was neat. You know, interestingly, James Cameron was like, we got to lead with a big plot point, like your best plot point in your trailers.
Yeah.
This trailer specifically ruined the movie.
They spoiled the whole twist of John Connor being a Terminator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and also kind of a stupid reveal.
Yeah.
Like, why? I still am like boggling. The questions that this movie tried to ask about, like, well, what if more about Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor? And I'm like, but I don't know that I care about Kyle Reese that much. No offense to him. He's kind of a means to an end, right? And I love Emilia Clarke. I think she's wonderful in Game of
Lights
Thrones.
up a room.
Beautiful. She's not good, Sarah Connor.
She little.
She was great in Secret Invasion.
I like that the Christmas rom-com. Last Christmas. Y'all see Last Christmas?
No.
Is that
You
an
gotta
Is that
watch
an
it.
R-rated
No, I'm telling
family
you,
film?
you can't look anything. It's one of those, what the fuck is this? When you're like, it seems just like a rom-com at Christmas, and then you watch it and you're like, what the fuck?
Isn't there some amnesia bullshit in there or something?
Not amnesia. There is a twist.
Okay.
Was it in the trailer?
No.
Okay.
See, that's why
it
Last
worked.
Christmas, she was like, in Last Christmas, I know what to do.
Yeah.
Because she was in charge of the trailers for both of these movies.
This movie sucked, but it also had no favors running against Jurassic World in theaters.
Yeah, very true.
Jurassic World, you remember seeing that? I was invited to that movie, Tom. You
Yeah.
were invited to that movie.
We saw that movie together.
We saw that movie together. It was
Yeah.
a very sensual moment.
That was the last Jurassic Park I saw in
It
theaters.
turns out Jurassic World made a boatload of cash and
Yeah.
worked. So this just being on top of a bad movie just had bad timing too.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you had to try. It's a big franchise, but man, this movie missed the mark.
Sort of like a Back to the Future 2, but bad. It's got this weird time thing. Bad use of Jai Courtney, who now I've liked in like a couple things. When he can when he's Australian, he good.
Yeah. But
Like
in
I just
American,
watched it's like Dangerous Animals or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like a serial killer on a boat who's like a shark hunter. He like takes people out to see sharks, but then he's a serial killer. So it's like he's scarier than the sharks. But he's just a big guy with an Australian accent. And when he's like that, it's great.
I do love it.
He's like one of the few good parts of Suicide Squad.
This movie's a lot about what ifs, because I think the plot, it feels a little like they're trying the endgame thing of like, remember that set piece in Terminator? Remember when he goes back and then this is supposed to happen, but then it's different this time. But it just felt like kind of like you said, Rise of Skywalker type shit of like very fan servicey, very kind of dumb.
And ignoring the previous entry
Completely.
just
And
because you want to do what you want to do.
Exactly. It opens up the Terminator multiverse, of which none of us asked for.
Yeah.
No, I don't want a multiverse of Terminator.
Tom Hardy was in consideration for John Connor.
Again, too big. These people that are being downtrodden by the machines, even though you have the general and all that, what kind of diet do you think they have?
It's true.
Then it's not
Metal.
good.
Raw metal.
Yeah, you want like a Weasley guy who's been eating canned beans as Kyle Reese.
Yeah.
That's
They
why I
eat rats.
thought.
You see it in Terminator, in the first Terminator.
Yeah. That's why I thought Anton Yelchin is like, he's a little too like sweet, but like still like I believe him as like body shape being Kyle Reese later.
Sure.
Whereas like now they're like, okay, everyone big now.
Yeah.
Except for Emilia Clarke,
grow 'em big.
who tiny.
She is tiny.
When they're in the like
This is
transporter
the
together.
Texas movie of the Terminator franchise. Everything is bigger.
It's true.
Yeah.
They also wanted Garrett Hedlund for Kyle Reese.
Better.
I think that would have been a little bit better. But yeah, ultimately they got Jai Courtney. For Emilia Clarke's role, who I named both of these, I think I would have liked even a little bit better. Tatiana Maslany, that would have been a little bit different. Brie Larson, though, who was the favorite for the role, but director Alan Taylor preferred Emilia Clarke because he had worked with her.
So you brought up James Cameron not wanting to do these movies because of potential economic pressure.
Mm-hmm.
All of these sequels up to this point were economic pressure. This was the true economic pressure, and essentially the term I was going to use is just milking the cash cow. And I was curious, from Fred, with your farmer background, could you describe to me what like milking the cash cow would look like? Because I envision this movie.
Well, it just might be too graphic for the audience. It feels like they just, they just cut off the pink part and just let the milk flow. That's what it feels like. And then they took the cow and ate it.
Is that how you're supposed to milk a cow?
No, you gotta work them nips.
But what you mentioned maybe explains why John Connor is so big.
Because he drank all the milk.
And ate the udderless cow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, no, they didn't milk the cow. They sent in, what was the studio?
Oh God. I don't remember now.
All right, I guess we don't even know. The head of the studio went into a room with the cow and drained its blood.
I thought you were making a reference to the show, The Studio, where they sent in some animal or something like that. And I was like, oh, I don't remember that.
No, they didn't milk
Greg
the
Ellis
cash
said that.
cow.
You're
They drained the
fine with
cash cow's blood and spat
cow-
it in the audience's face.
This cow didn't make it. And I honestly was a little shocked that this movie led into another Terminator movie attempt so shortly after.
Yeah. Well, you guys want to, here's the funny thing. You read through some of these like wikis and all this, or these histories on these. And there was a line in every single entry point from 4 onward. This was supposed to be the first in a new trilogy. This was supposed to be the first in a new
was
trilogy.
Salvation.
Yep. That's what I mean. The Salvation, first in a new trilogy. Genesis, first in a new trilogy. Then we get to Dark Fate, first in a new trilogy. But this was first and foremost. So they were like, okay, we're going to bring in some new writers, some new takes, new everything, right? They bring in Josh Friedman from the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Also an attempt at a sequel to 2.
Yes. With also another Game of Thrones alum, Lena Headey, who apparently real good as Sarah Connor. So maybe they got the wrong
show
actress.
Has a cult following. Perhaps Fred is a member of this cult. It consistently ranks as a top series on like iTunes, for example. It surprisingly was apparently good and canceled after 2 seasons. And unfortunately, it's one of those shows that people kind of wish continued on. But at least it taught, similar to Salvation, it went a little bit of a different direction. Which, and it had the TV format, which of course has its pluses and minuses.
Because what I understand is it's just sort of like that in between time of like Sarah Connor, like raising John post Judgment Day, and then they're kind of like on the move and trying to figure it out.
And then she dies, and John goes into seclusion, and then Terminator 3 happens. See, it would have all worked. It would have all worked.
Yeah. Except that
and then they did Genesis. They killed the cow.
Yeah, they
Sucked
killed
its
the cow.
blood.
Let the milk drain.
And that was that.
Fed Jai Courtney.
Yeah, they fed him into the blender of sorts. This was interesting because they did bring in Josh Friedman, who was the creator of the TV series, because Sarah Connor Chronicles had been canceled after 2 seasons. Brought in David S. Goyer, who had done rewrites or writes on Batman and a whole bunch of other shit. You can look him up. Billy Ray, all these other people. They brought in Tim Miller to director of Deadpool and Deadpool 2, right? Both of those? I think he left.
No,
Deadpool.
David Leitch, I think, did too.
But
left Deadpool
director
2.
of the Sonic the Hedgehog movies.
That's true.
Tim Miller? Yeah, I think that's interesting. So I think he left Deadpool 2 to make this movie, Dark Fate. So and at the request of Miller, David Ellison was to recruit James Cameron to help produce the new film. This is maybe where things go a little awry for old Tim Miller. I think they had good intentions. They had some good ideas. Here's a problem with trying to pull in James Cameron as a producer. James Cameron's got ideas about how that movie should be made, right?
Mm-hmm.
James Cameron basically ghost wrote, produced, directed this movie, everything. His fingerprints are all over this thing. I don't think people realize how much he was involved with this. It was his idea to kill John Connor right out the gate. And he was like, oh, that was such a mistake. You know, that was his idea. He came up with that. He's like, wouldn't that be something to really pull the rug out from under people to have John Connor die right away? We'll bring Eddie Furlong out. He's going to look great.
He looks great.
CGI'd.
It is one of the best de-aging scenes in a movie.
Yeah.
Is young Furlong, and just Arnie seems like a guy, because even the Salvation like looks a little bad because of when it comes from, but like he seems like an easy person to de-age compared to other people like De Niro.
Mm-hmm. It is not bad, I will say that. But also, I guess that's the question here. How do you guys feel about the decision to just off John Connor and be like, he's out right away?
I don't really have a feeling of offing John Connor, like right away, in the sense that it works from a story perspective to some degree. My biggest thing with this movie is that they, like what you were saying earlier, you didn't like the lack of continuity into 3 because they didn't have the original actors.
Mm-hmm.
They brought them all back for this one.
Mm-hmm.
And it still didn't hit the mark.
Well, I guess that's where I will say I do think this kind of hit the mark a little, at least for me.
I like this movie, but my problem is that by the time it came out, I'm putting my nose up in the air. I'm like, this Terminator a stinky. So I'm not going in with the proper, like I should be going in like 1, 2, 3, maybe. And then watching this, I have a feeling this would go up like a full star for me. Sure. It's because I had to sit through so much crap, all of this back and forth through the franchise. I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of Terminator. I'm tired of not Terminator itself. I'm tired of everything around Terminator. So when this comes out and it's serviceable, has good scenes, I like the use of the 2 leads. It's like just too little, too late.
Mm.
Or maybe not too little, not quite enough, way too late.
And the way too late part of it, I think, is that we are watching Arnold in his 70s, which it tried to hold up this intimidating feel. And I know that the plot, takes it a different direction, and I get that. But at the same time, if you're going to see Arnold in a Terminator movie, you're locked into what you saw in 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And what they tried to replicate in 3. And what they modified to a degree in 4, or in Genesis. Yes, Genesis. And at this point, it felt like it was too late.
Mm-hmm.
Not just from the movie perspective of having to struggle through all those things, but where we're at with the actor's age as well.
So there's my big what if for you guys here. I mean, we could maybe even just start jumping into Show Me the Franchise as we kind of talk through this movie a little bit, because I think the idea of offing John Connor is interesting, and I don't think James Cameron's wrong. The only way you're going to make an interesting outing is if we ditch the whole fucking thing of something is coming back to protect John Connor or somebody critical to the cause that's in the Connor bloodline or whatever, and be like, it is a little Last Jedi-ish, right? Of like, get rid of him, move the story forward. What does that mean if John Connor is dead? If they succeed, does Judgment Day still happen and then the machines win? Well, what's the turn? It's the complete mirror image of 3, right? The idea that, well, Judgment Day is inevitable, but is somebody who's going to lead the resistance inevitable too? And that's the interesting thing this movie asked. I think story-wise, that's a really smart idea of like, right, it doesn't matter if it's John Connor. Somebody is going to step up. Someone's going to lead the resistance, and they're going to topple the machines. Like, ultimately, there's going to be a brighter day, even before it's darkness before the light, right? And I think that's fascinating. Execution wise, yeah, I think there's a lot of things I do like. I love having Linda Hamilton back. I think her without John to worry about, she's just a bad bitch, and she's just like out here to be like, all right, I'm going to use all this training I learned, and we're gonna do this. But I think, as you guys are kind of saying, it's too little, too late. If this was 3, would this have worked way better?
That's what I wanted to say, but I wanted to keep 3 in there, but I would like this as 3.
And that's what their intent was that this whole movie erased 3.
Yeah,
So it was too little too late. And at this point, you start to ask the question, do we need another Terminator? Terminator as a series, to a degree, was a victim of its own success on a variety of different fronts.
Yeah.
One of that, just being that 1 and 2 were just so well written, put together. Part of that's a victim of James Cameron's success. It's also Arnold's success and his ascension. Linda Hamilton, Edward Furlong, all those moments in 1 and 2, and that just solidifies what a Terminator movie should be. And what we're all saying here is that maybe it should have done something different.
Yeah.
And it was scared to do that because it had been so successful.
Yeah.
And you get stuck.
we've been long playing, I think, this conversation we're having right now, from the moment we started talking about 3 to this time of like, and I think this is a perfect time to get into coulda, woulda, shoulda. Just our show me the franchise here, right?
Show me the franchise.
I mean, we have a lot of details, and we can keep talking about all these movies because I think there is something fascinating about Dark Fate. I like Mackenzie Davis. I think she's a really interesting choice. I love the idea of somebody who is not Arnold being a part kind of Terminator robot thing that can be in that role. And that's kind of, I think, in the Sarah Connor Chronicles too, from what I understand. Again, I didn't want to have to belabor that, but I'm also just,
I like Mackenzie Davis a lot.
she's good. Do you see, is it Silicon Valley that she started in that like kind of put her on the map?
I first saw her in Black Mirror, San Junipero.
Oh no, not Silicon Valley.
Station 11?
Yes, she's in that too, but I'm thinking of not Burn After Reading. It's like the one with Lee Pace. It's like they
Oh yeah, I know the show. I can't think.
like Halt and Catch
Halt
Fire.
and Catch- Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of like Silicon Valley. It takes place in Silicon Valley. That's probably why I was thinking of that.
Yeah.
But I watched a little of that. But yeah, that San Junipero Black Mirror episode is really where she got put on the map. She good. I think they had a lot of good ideas here. But yeah, it's just, if we had done this back in 2003 or even earlier than that, I think we got a bigger franchise than we even know what to do with. Then the war against the machines. Then you get into a Salvation type movie. Cast Christian Bale as anybody else even. It doesn't have to be John Connor. You're cooking. Like, I think make him Kyle Reese. Maybe he's too big for that, but he could
Lean into the retro futurism versus that is also another ding for Salvation for me. It's very like new age, like futurism, which makes, going with the times. But like, I think watching Terminator 2 so many times from being 13 on, like, I think I would think about like that period, and it's that retro futurism that I was hooking into. That's the vibe I want out of a war Terminator movie.
Yeah. I know. I wish they had done a lot of different things, but I'm not down on the first 2. I think this is the only franchise that really survived that, where you can kind of watch the first 2 and be like, well, all the rest is time travel bullshit anyway.
Like
So
that, and as you mentioned earlier, Godfather. You just watch 1, 2. Although I'm a defender of 3 with Godfather, but
I think 3 worked.
yeah, I like 3.
is that Coppola cut better?
I watched them so far apart, I didn't know the differences.
Really?
But I never hated 3, so.
And plus, like, Sofia Coppola then became a really brilliant director after that. So
Yeah, I mean, for this series, the biggest coulda, woulda, shoulda for me was just, I think, breaking the mold. And at some point, you have to get away from Arnold. And all the other movies, sans Salvation, relied on Arnold
Right.
And we see that time and time again unfortunately with these action stars, where it's just, there comes a time where you have to move on. And that decision point of saying, okay, we can move this franchise on without that action star seems to be one of the hardest decision points in any movie, studio. And they often hold on too long.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think we went a little bit awry here. And obviously there were a lot of development hell moments that you pointed out, Tom, but the bottom line here is that if you had done something new, done something fresh, gotten away, if you're bringing in new blood that's not James Cameron, do something different.
Right. And I think they had a golden opportunity when Arnold was sidelined being governor, right? And they made Salvation, but I don't think it's a terrible movie, but I certainly don't know that it's memorable. Like, that's the problem with it. I'm like, I can barely recall it, and I probably watched it 5 years ago or something like that. Whereas, like, I felt like Dark Fate, I could call back a little bit more and be like, okay, so that's what happens. Okay, and I kind of remember more moments from that movie, and just more, I liked the tone of that movie. I think Miller is a pretty decent director. I think he had a lot of good ideas, but he was jockeying for position so much with James Cameron that it's like he couldn't even do something new, because it ultimately was James Cameron kind of being brought back into the fold and be like, all right, I'll take a break from Avatar 2. What do you guys want? Okay, you want me to do this? Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. Like, this is the movie now. And it's just, you got two people's visions colliding a little bit there. So if it had maybe just been him, maybe it is something that's a little bit more in that tone of 2.
Yeah, I would, if they were gonna make another one,
Mm-hmm.
I would pitch a story and a director. I really been liking the Michael Snarowski, who made Pig, Quiet Place Day One.
Yeah,
is about to have this big Robin Hood epic movie for A24. He kind of can play in this like small movie, but kind of bigger stakes as well. I think Quiet Place Day One is very much that. I want something of that vibe, a really small character-driven story. I want it to be about the guy who trains the dogs in the future.
Oh yeah,
Because that's one of my favorite plot points is the dogs can sense and know like which people are Terminators, and then they use the dogs to alert. And I kind of want like a guy who's like saving dogs and like figuring out the use for the resistance.
that'd be a fun movie. Or just spending more time in that future where we are doing more than maybe just doing a prequel to the war. Let's see the war. We haven't seen it. We've seen snippets of it all over.
I want like Forrest Whitaker without all the like oxygen tank stuff, but just like straight up Forrest Whitaker in that vibe. Just like with 3 dogs, just like going through the apocalypse.
Well, here's the pitch here. Do you want the Andor of Terminator? Basically, Pete said Rogue One is Salvation, right? What if we get the Andor spinoff to that? That's like, get Forrest Whitaker being a guy who's like mentoring like John Connor and people.
So like between time John Connor, like, because like pretty much you're saying pre-Salvation, correct? Because Salvation goes pretty up to the end.
Yeah, I think what you're describing is what they're currently doing with the Star Wars movies and universe,
And putting like the between time.
hitting that in between 6 and 7,
Mm-hmm.
where who know, the world's your oyster as long as you end up at that end point.
Right,
so,
right.
I mean, that's certainly, I think we all agree the future was the future of this franchise, and they just didn't execute until, I mean, they tried Salvation, but beyond that, there were a lot of lost opportunities there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want something that's like, give me like Crow Warriors, 80s futurism, like grungy guys in overcoats running around cities where there's laser shots going off and like cyborgs with ripped faces. Like, also, I don't even need a Terminator movie. Just give me a future movie with robots. Like, you don't have to make Terminator movies.
I mean, let me throw this at you. Maybe what we needed was a G-rated Terminator.
Hey.
Could you imagine that?
G-rated Terminator?
What if a Terminator
Is that the Iron
met
Giant?
a nice dog and they got along together and grew up?
The Iron Giant's kind of like that, though.
There we go.
Big robot from space,
there we
right?
go. We
But
could've
even
had-
Iron Giant's PG.
could've had
he is tough for robots in a dystopian future.
Speaking of Vin Diesel,
You put a big enough smile on the robot, it'll be fine.
Vin Diesel was in talks to be the TX in Rise of the Machines. It was written for a woman, but then they were like, but Vin Diesel's hot. Maybe we could just make this a male part and put him in, but they wanted to do something different.
Another guy where once he talks, the whole him being a robot thing really doesn't work for me anymore.
Yeah, he does better as a tree.
Like Robert Patrick works, and he's like got like this like dark, almost like he kind of hides his twang in that one. You know? But like I still believe he's a robot.
Oh, yeah.
I believe the actress is a robot in the third one. She's not great. They steal the Men in Black 2 thing where like the thing sees like a hot picture of a lady and was like, oh, well, that's what I should look like.
Yeah. It's funny, though. I just feel like Robert Patrick was a weird thing that they never went back to. We even brought the T-1000 back in Genesis, but it's like, well, we're going to grab this like Korean actor. I can't think of his name, but I know he's in like Squid Game and all that.
But
too.
he looks like Robert Patrick, which is crazy.
He does for sure. I mean, and he's a good actor. Like I'm not hitting on the choice or anything like that or hating on that. It's just more like, why didn't we bring Robert Patrick back? Like he could have just been
He's too busy preparing for Peacemaker.
Yeah, well, he's
20
also
years
too
later.
busy like playing that character in comedy, like doing like one scenes and other. Like I
Yeah.
think he cooked that character, not in a bad. Like I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm just saying it'd be hard to bring him back after like 3 times it's been used as a like joke in a movie.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. That's a good point.
But I'm still with you. Like Robert Patrick is like his acting is underrated in 2. Like people like him as a villain, but I think they're mostly just looking at like the metallic side and all that. But like his just like eyes, the way he moves his head, I think he's like, I studied sharks or something like that. Like anytime an actor is like, I studied this animal, like insert any animal, I'm like, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Another coulda, woulda, shoulda for me. James Cameron's got to figure out these 4K re-releases. Like the Terminator 2 look a little choppy. The CG overlay in it looks copy and pasted. I don't know what's going on. I heard The Abyss has the same issues. I'm like, you're James Cameron. Why your 4K bad? But
He's stuck in Pandora working on those movies.
I guess. But that would be another thing. I think they need to do something with the Terminator 2 4K. It looks a little rough. It's like anytime there's CG over live action, it looks very separate because they did a really good job like making the actual film footage looking really good. Whenever there's no effects, it looks beautiful. It's when the effects come in, there's like, I think something about watching it on a van TV up in, the ceiling on a smaller device lends to the movie a little bit in that regard.
Yeah. I think my only pitch for a coulda, woulda, shoulda, because we didn't talk about the video games at all, which like back in the day, I know Pete and I watched a lot of Angry Video Game Nerd, and there's a great episode where he covers all the Terminator episodes. But I would love a version of like how they did the Alien Isolation game, where you're kind of running from the alien, you're like that first person perspective. I would love to be in a game where you are like Sarah Connor or somebody who's running from a Terminator, and like you have to like hide, and it's very minimalist, sort of like you're not just like, somebody in the middle of the war, which I think some of these Terminator games will tend to go to. I want to be somebody who's like, you're being stalked and you have to kind of find ways to like, kind of like running from, is it Mr. X or like Nemesis and Resident Evil?
It's also sounding a lot like a game I've been playing here and there is the Quiet Place game. It's like you don't have a lot of resources and you're just trying to quietly move through spaces, not knock into stuff. And like when there's like a monster around, you can't just go kill it. You have to like hide, like position similar to Alien Isolation. So I'd like something like that. Or I'd like a Fallout style game.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be fun.
Ubisoft will do it.
They'll figure it out.
Economic pressure.
Yeah. It's rife for, I think, some other ways, but maybe the movies have run their course.
Fun arcade game. I've played that where you have a big gun.
Yeah.
Killed it. Yeah, for sure. They did an excellent job there. But I agree. I think the franchise needs to be put on ice for a little while.
Yeah. Did you guys
think about what it's done?
Did you guys watch the Terminator Zero anime that was on Netflix?
I did not.
See, that's an interesting coulda, woulda, shoulda. Is just going straight into anime. Apparently, it's good. I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either, but I've heard good things too.
Apparently, it's good.
Do like this? I like what the Star Wars does, where it's like 30 to 40-minute little stories.
Yeah.
Throughout, you could have your big story, you can have your small story,
And just, they're kind of like, I don't know, case of the week or something like that, right? Kind of like Mandalorian. It's funny that we're just like, they should do what Star Wars is doing, even though we're like, Star Wars is kind of tired. But I think they even realize too, we've kind of like run out of movie story, which we'll see what happens with Mandalorian and Grogu. But
they just need a Dave Filoni of the Terminator world, who I'm still not convinced isn't just Kevin Pollak.
I mean, he looks like him. Let's get into our power rankings this week, though, guys. This week's power rankings are top 3 characters in this franchise. And I want you to get specific. Arnold plays about 8 different versions of his Terminator, and he's only in, 6 movies, so that's really saying something. But what are your rankings for your top 3 characters in the franchise? Pete, do you want to kick us off, or do you want us to give you a little time?
I'll go.
Go for it.
T-850 from Terminator 2 has to be 1-1. I mean, it's the iconic Arnold role. Even with Terminator 1, the humor he brings in, the humanity he starts to bring in, that you only really pick up on if you watch the extended cut. By the way, there's extra scenes there. Maybe that was in the 4K.
Is it?
I haven't watched the special features on the 4K.
Yeah. Gonna go with again, I hate to be kind of chalky here, but John Connor from T2. I mean, Furlong was just killed it as an actor. He really did just like lay into it. Honestly, I really liked Sam Worthington's character in Salvation.
Interesting.
This is no disrespect to Linda Hamilton. Of course, I think it's again chalky to go Arnold, Furlong and Linda Hamilton, but Sam Worthington's character was unique. I think he sold it with his acting skill. Obviously, Cameron said, "You got to look at this guy," and that's how he ended up getting the role.
Yeah.
The twist of him being a Terminator, but he didn't really understand it, was honestly one of the more human-like Terminators in the entire series.
Is his character named Marcus, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
And he just donates his heart to John at the end of the movie. It worked, and it was just one of the more fresh, unique things. And I think Sam Worthington did a really nice job, and it propelled him, of course, through Avatar.
Yeah, I think that's a good, interesting pick for the third one, because it is an idea that they start playing with and iterating on, and it's a fun idea. It's something we do see with Mackenzie Davis in Dark Fate. So, Fred, do you want to go next?
Are we counting deleted scenes?
Why not?
Sure.
Okay.
You do you. You got till what, 9-10?
Yeah, I got till 9-10. I'm stretching.
Yeah, but
He's
good,
in. He's locked in now.
We got a hot start here, though. I like the picks. Those
Yeah.
are good ones.
I'm gonna go Michael Biehn as John or Kyle Reese.
Oh, okay.
Again, I just like how
You like your Kyle Reese thin.
I like him thin, spindly. I like him grungy. I like him malnourished, and I like him getting it on.
Hey, how did you handle that with your kid?
I just kind of let it happen for a little while, and then I was like, look away, like halfway through the scene, and then he was like, okay.
Did you show him the Linda Hamilton memes from the sex scene during?
No.
That would have been fun.
I didn't need to bring it back up. I was just like, okay, now we're gonna go watch this Terminator get crushed by a machine.
Yeah.
Make sure you pay attention to the arm.
Robert Patrick, again, just killing it. I mean, the role so funny and nice that they did it in other movies, and I love his intensity. And then I'm going to go with the original human that inspired Arnold Schwarzenegger. That actually what they made the machines based off of, who was like a Marine. And that's in a deleted scene. Are you guys familiar with this deleted scene?
In Rise of the Machines, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember. He's got like a southern accent.
Yeah. I feel like I'm going to just pull up.
Using designs generated by Skynet, we need no longer risk the well-being of our men and women in uniform. Robots will take their place on the front lines.
Hi, I'm Chief Master Sergeant William Candy. I was honored to be selected by CRS in the ongoing effort to save American lives.
I don't know about that accent.
We can fix it.
So
William Candy.
I feel without William Candy, I'm glad we're putting respect on his name. We might not have such an iconic machine that would carry us through these sequels.
Oh my God. What a ridiculous pick for the third one. But also seeing Arnold give this line delivery being voiced over by somebody completely doesn't sound anything like him. Great.
It's almost like your impressions of Arnold throughout this podcast.
I'm William Candy.
Yeah, hasta la vista, baby.
Hasta la vista, baby. No, but I think overall, though, I like the picks. Those are good.
I would also say honorable mention the little shitty like doctor at the institute.
Oh, yeah.
Just great, like hating, like everyone who works there are great. Like I hate this guy and I can't wait to see them like get their comeuppance.
Yeah.
Good slasher stuff.
It is. I do love the doctor. He's such a little weasel. I'll probably echo a couple of you guys, a couple of your picks though so far, because I do think probably my number 3 is going to be Robert Patrick as the T-1000. He's pretty undeniable. He's so intimidating. He's just a very cool character. I love watching all the transformations. I love watching him do the whole scene where he's like sticking the knife through like the mom's head and he's pretending to be her on the phone with John and two. It's just so good. Everything he does just very on point.
And you know who that mom is, right?
Remind me.
She is Vasquez.
Yeah,
in
from Aliens.
Aliens.
Right? Yeah. This is a good one. Number 2, I wish I had kind of won a zig and a zag for this, but I do think my number 2 is just going to have to be Arnold in the first one. I think he set the tone for the whole franchise with his portrayal of the original Terminator. Mm-hmm. And
you like your Arnold still on roids.
I like the guy with when you just get the full ass view of him walking out the city.
You like bodybuilder Arnold.
Dude is jacked. But I just think he's just so...
Another oftentimes guest of your podcast would be so proud of you right now.
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, he likes to lift. He's just so good in that role. I just think you don't have this franchise if he's not the intimidating force that he is. You have to throw respect on his name. But speaking of an OG who is good in the first one, even better in the second one, my lukewarm take is I think she's kind of the heart of the franchise. I think
Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah, exactly. Linda Hamilton, right? I mean, Sarah Connor makes this thing hum. I think it really went downhill when she left. That was gonna be my big take. My big takeaway is that you miss her presence as sort of the steadying force, this kind of look for John. If you had flipped it where Arnold had left and she stayed, I do kind of wonder if that would have worked too.
She saved it for Stranger Things.
Yeah, I kind of wish she had more to do though still. Or maybe that they had brought her in earlier.
Can I add an honorable mention?
Absolutely.
Since Fred has all night and was throwing out honorable mentions.
Take your time, King.
We made it through this entire podcast without mentioning Dean Norris, who of course was the SWAT team or whatever they were that found Dyson with the detonator that started yelling to get out.
Yeah.
You can't tell it's him. He's in the full body shield and so forth, but launched him, of course, into Schrader.
Yeah.
for Breaking Bad.
Yeah. And so,
Launched.
Dean Norris and
Minerals.
Mike Ehrmantraut, they'll pop up in these
Jonathan
80s
Banks.
and-
Yeah.
They pop up. Banks really pops up.
He does. He showed up. Was he in like Beverly Hills Cop or something like that?
He's in one of those.
Yeah. It's great. Like just kind of seeing him young. But I do I would say my Miles Dyson is definitely my honorable mention. I think that guy did great. I really love just that character and just how sympathetic he is. Because it's like, yeah, had he had the knowledge of what he was doing, he's not going to do this. And he tried to make it right. And it's just sort of tragic that it ended with him dying. But it's a great portrayal. But yeah, Linda Hamilton, number one. She's a queen. And I think that gets us to the end of our episode here, guys. We have said a lot about Terminator, and now this episode is terminated.
That's right.
That's right. But before we let you go, Pete, anything that you'd like to plug?
I'd like to plug my future podcast episodes.
Oh, great.
As part of this negotiation. I mean, quoting Terminator, I'll be back when Fred finally watches Demon Slayer, or when Tom decides that Claire Obscure can be a franchise, which it is a defined franchise per the developers. So I look forward to coming back. I know it's been a long time. I really appreciate having been here, guys. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, we are happy that you came out of semi-retirement to now announce that you're going to not be back for one. You are the Arnold Schwarzenegger of this podcast now. You're coming out of retirement, and you're just going to hold us hostage here to do more episodes.
That's right. I would like to announce my retirement again.
Okay.
Until I get those pods.
You're very Michael Jordan of you.
Minus the gambling.
Well, great. Stay tuned for those episodes sometime in the future. We'll figure it out when that happens. Maybe when Claire Obscure actually releases another installment in its franchise and not just one singular game. You need to have something to talk about. That show will be interesting.
How do you not have something? Did you play this game, Fred?
No, I'm not like a JRPG guy.
It's actually an FRPG.
I know, but I played the trial, and so
You
I
don't
know
like
that
art.
type of game.
You like art. You were talking about austere.
art?
Art.
Art
This-
is subjective.
This game is art.
I mean, I've been saying I'm willing to give it another shot, but I played like the hour demo and it just didn't grab me. A lot of these like floaty Final Fantasy people in nice outfits on clouds don't really do it for me.
That's really too bad. But maybe one day we'll still talk about the episode. It's in the talks.
There's some Disney characters in there, and then I get all over it.
Kingdom Hearts. That's one I think we could all talk about at some point. I'm just going to throw that out there. Anyway, but yes, stay tuned for that.
Negotiations are ongoing.
Oh, yes, for sure. Fred, anything you would like to plug besides Father Figures June 13th, which has already gotten a mid-episode plug?
Tonight you can check me out doing the Herald with the Daily Herald, and then Saturday, which will be the 30th, my sketch group is performing in pilot season Embarrassment of Riches. Then one more thing. Nope, just that Father Figures the following Saturday.
Indeed. The 13th will be Father Figures. We're excited to get back on stage. Am I correct in also saying that on the release date of this episode, if you're listening to us live, happy birthday, Pete.
Hey.
As he mentioned, he was getting close to 40. And indeed, he's another year closer to 40 this year. So
Closer.
Closer, but not
Closer.
40.
Definitions.
But yeah,
Definitions.
happy birthday to you. You spurred my brain when you said the dates, and I was like, yes, that's right. I remembered.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I know you're just trying to butter me up in those negotiations. But thank you. I appreciate you plugging my birthday.
That's what I'm here. And wish Pete a happy birthday on the post and the social post, which you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube. Join our Patreon for just $2 a month. We are dropping a brand new episode this month. And in fact, I believe it might be same week because Tom is always messing with the schedule. We're talking The Mandalorian on the Patreon this month. As we mentioned, we are still yet to watch the movie, but by the time you listen to that Patreon episode, we will have seen the movie and have talked about it. It'll be an interesting one, right?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be really good.
I hope so. I hope
The episode will be good.
The episode will be good. We'll talk a lot about the show, but we'll also give our thoughts on the movie and maybe some Burger King meal. We'll find out.
I will say I tried the chicken fries with a little sauce, and I'll save my thoughts.
Okay. So you've already gotten a little sneak peek. Is there multiple meals like they did with K-pop?
You can get everything, I think, in one go. I just because I've been watching what I've been eating, I like do one thing every few days or so instead of getting it all at once.
Yeah. If you got thoughts on the Burger King meal, we'd love to hear that too. You can give that
I've got thoughts on food at all times.
I mean, please do if you get the Mandalorian.
I mean, when you were saying $2 for your Patreon, I was like, I could get a McG for that.
It's true.
Yeah, but I mean, you have enough points on that app. You don't even have to pay for it, right? How many points you sitting at currently?
Let me check.
It's a good way to close out the app.
Did we have this conversation?
Yeah, at a Vanguard.
My points.
Yeah.
Hold on, I got to get through. I am currently sitting at 19,686 points
On the Burger King app?
No, on the
on
McDonald's.
Oh,
app.
McDonald's
the
app.
McG app.
The McG. Got it. Okay. I was like, damn, that's a lot of Burger King. I don't even know where there was one that close other than Layton. Special thanks to Nick Spitza and Mike Schwantz for our opening and closing theme songs. And stay tuned for next time where we'll be talking about hockey movies. Gonna be a slap shot of a time.
This podcast is terminated.
That's a good way to end it. Thanks again for being here, Pete. And thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
We'll be back.
Hasta la vista, baby.
I got no cares, 'cause all I wanna do is charge my phone and drive listening to you. And what they talk about will always be up to you.
I was early. I'm in no rush.
So the joke I made before about Fred making a 9:10, Fred had a movie, was asking for a hard out at 7:20.
He
And
had a
then
date. He had a date.
a day with Greg. Yeah. Go see Obsession, which is a movie I am very interested in seeing. Maybe I'll hop with you to no, I'm just kidding.
Well, we can't sit together
Okay.
because they're seats, but they're all individual ones.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, you also let us know what you think of the movie when you do get to go see it at 9:10.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was 7:15 until it was 7:15.
I hope the audience appreciates your monologues of film knowledge on these things,
Listen,
because you're costing Fred his 7:35.
You're more caught. Like, look, seeing the 9:10 movie is fine. What you're really costing me, and now I have more time, I can really lay this out. You're costing me my Yasso in bedtime.
Oh, that's a time.
You know, are y'all on that Yasso frozen Greek yogurt?
Yeah.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I'm new to it because like I've tried Halo Top, which is like the methadone of ice cream. It doesn't really get me where I need to be going. The Yasso is still not as good as the real stuff. But the fact that like I haven't like cranked out a whole pint myself yet, but if you did, it's not horrible. It's like 400 compared to like 800 to 1200.
Oh, sure. Doing like a Ben & Jerry's.
Doing like a B&J goes like 1200 calories in one thing sometimes.
Yeah.
So I like the idea. I can eat half a pint of ice cream and it's 200 calories. I love doing it in bed.
Yeah.
That's right. A B&J in bed.
I mean,
There's many different ways you can go about that are just as tasty. That's really gross of me to say.
so yeah, you're cutting into that because there's no way I can get home at like 11:30 midnight and eat Greek yogurt in my bed. I'll be up till 1:32.
Counterpoint though. Go to the movie, you can get those little, like, what are they called? The
Dibs.
dots? The dibs.
Dibs. They don't have Greek yogurt dibs.
You know, the nice thing about at least the state of Wisconsin is that when you go to a fine Marcus establishment, there's plenty to do there for a couple hours if you really wanted to. You could go there and get a nice drink or have a nice dinner.
It's true.
You could bring a yasso.
I'm not drinking
You could pre-yasso.
during the week, and I'm not eating out during the week. There's two things I can't do. But I am going to maybe go for a nice walk by the water.
So what Fred's detailing is Tom ruined his night.
I don't know.
You know what? It was worth it. And if I could go back in time, I don't know if I'd change it.
We're here having quality time. I do love that we're probably past 2 hours now on this episode. People are like, these guys spent a good 3 minutes on. It's not ice cream. It's yogurt.
There's a quote.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
a
so-
Terminator quote you could be using here, Fred.
Yeah, so La Vista, baby.
I was gonna say dickwad, but
Oh, yeah.
that also
Chill out, dickwad.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. I've been good about my Arnold impression.